Hello and welcome to Flix and Chill with me, Luke. Today, I have a very special guest with me. Corey is here. So, Corey, why don't you take it and introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, hey Luke. First off, thanks so much, man, for having me on with you. Very
My
excited to be
pleasure.
here with you. Yeah, so my name Corey Skowronski. If we want to get kind of into pluggy world, I kind of dance around and post on a little Instagram page called
Hmm.
Red Eye Films, where I just kind of do my best at my caveman brain to write little reviews about movies that I see when I can.
Hmm.
So that's always been fun. But yeah, outside of that, and watching movies and talking about them, based in Arizona, based here in Phoenix, in the desert, and it's been good. This is kind of a new venture. I've always been into film and movies and kind of going and watching them, experiencing them. But even before that, I'm finding like, okay, what's my next creative outlet? Because I just kind of closed a chapter on a
Yeah.
creative world, which was music.
Ooh.
I was playing in a band. I was playing guitar in a band for, geez, 10, 11 years.
Wow.
And yeah, and we played like punk, hardcore
Hmm.
music.
Hmm.
So a lot of jumping around, a lot of screaming and yelling, loud stuff. So that was fun. So it's cool to kind of to have taken that step back and say, okay, what's the next little kind of
Hmm.
creative outlet that I can kind of fit into. So
Yeah.
that's been fun.
What was the name of the band?
We were called American Standards.
American
And
Standards. Okay.
yeah, well, so the funny thing was is that was before they came up with the name before my time. So I joined the
Hmm.
band maybe a few months after they kind of were created, and the it was the whole stint of the band. It was me and the vocalist. We were the only two like guys that stuck around. Everybody else kind of came and went and
Okay.
stuff like that. But we kind of held it down. And with our late guitarist at the time, they were bouncing names off. At least this is the story that I get.
Hmm.
They were bouncing names off of each other. And our buddy, he went to the bathroom. And here, there's a toilet brand called American Standard.
Ah.
And so our vocalist was like, well, why don't we call it American
Hmm.
Standards? And for some reason, the guys thought, yeah, let's do that. So they already had the name when I joined. And
Hmm.
honestly, I'm not a big fan of it. I don't like it, but it was what it was. Like, it's funny to say after 11 years, like, yeah, the
Yeah.
name really wasn't for me, but the guys were great and the music was fun. So
Is that why you stepped back from the band because of the name after
no.
11 years?
No, I think honestly I had a kid. I had to grow up.
Ah, I see. I see. Congrats. Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, no, but yeah, that's been a blast. But yeah, it was just juggling that and then
Hmm.
like I said, trying to find that next creative outlet. I
Yeah.
think now kind of like taking a step back as far from the music space and like seeing because we actually were kind of contractually obligated to still release an album. So
Mhm.
the last like year we've been working on this album, at least me and the vocalist, and the trying to find the time to go to the studio and record has been just a crazy challenge, and it just makes me like it's not a it what sucks is like dang, this isn't like a hobby anymore. It feels like work, and that sucked.
I was gonna ask if you have a contract in place to record an album. That sounds kind of serious. I'm
Yeah,
like, okay,
it
let's
was a
go.
little bit. Yeah, it sounds great, right? But it never
Hmm.
is, honestly. Like, because nowadays it's. I think when people think like contracts, like in the music industry, they're thinking like decades ago when like as soon as you catch it, boom, you're off. But nowadays, and it's not to throw these guys under the bus, but a lot of, I mean, these smaller groups that create these labels,
Hmm.
quote unquote. They don't really do too much for the bands, at least in
I
our
see.
experience. It was very much so like I think it was a glorified method of like, well, we'll repost your Instagram post or we'll repost
Yeah.
whatever you post. It
Yeah.
was just that. So,
Hmm.
and then it's like, well, there's no like they're not funding anything, at least in our
Hmm.
experience. They're not funding anything. They're only in another case they were where we could put like our merch, like a t-shirt or something like that, and they could
Yeah.
sell that and then we would get a cut and vice versa. It was so, but it was never like, I'll say, here's 5 grand, go create an album. It was nothing like that. At least that's
Yeah.
how my brain always envisioned it, and it
Hmm.
wasn't that. So it was kind of a
So
bummer, but.
Okay, so am I correct in saying that like you made some money out of being in that band, but not enough to actually like, to support
Live.
yourself and your family?
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, this is especially with the genre of music we're playing.
Hmm. Hmm.
What you find now is that bands, in order to like succeed and have that like life, like to be able to use it as a means of an income for
Hmm.
their family or whatnot, you got to be on the road. You got to be just touring, playing shows
Yep.
every
Yep.
night because nowadays because the music's free basically. You're not having to buy the CDs anymore. You're not having to do anything like that. So the only way you're making money in a band is ticket sales and the merchandise that you're
Yeah.
selling at the shows. So
Hmm.
that's really it. So, it and the cool thing about the band that we were in, we always made it like every year we kind of had like a sit down talk and it's like, hey, how are we feeling? Are we still into this, or
Hmm.
are
Hmm.
we wanting to dip out? And every time it's been like, no, we're still having fun with this because at the start when I joined and we got the rest of the guys in, we had the conversation. Are we trying to really like
Yeah, yeah.
go for
To
something,
like
or are
grow
we
it.
just
Yeah.
yeah, do we want this to are we trying to create like a band that's going to tour nonstop, that's going to be this? Or do we just want to have where this is fun, it's a hobby, and we're going to just hang out and write some music and have some fun. And it's always been the latter. It was always just this is a hobby. We're not trying to,
Hmm.
make
Hmm.
this a career or anything like that. Which there was definitely inklings. There were moments where it could have been something, but it was just like, nah, no, no,
Yeah.
we're not gonna go down that path. So.
Okay, so in your professional opinion, because I think, you've been in a band for like 11, 12 years. So I
Right.
would call you professional, really. So in your opinion, what is the magic moment nowadays for a band where you might be on a cusp of something? How do you know you're on cusp of something?
It's probably I think ultimately it comes down to there's two, sorry, I'm trying to
That's fine.
frame it. I think there's two avenues. There's
Okay.
like we were saying, like the live setting where you're
Hmm.
playing a show,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
then there's the interwebs where I think a band releasing a full-length album nowadays just doesn't make sense. You have to be like month to month, here's a single,
Yeah,
here's a
like
single.
singles. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And I would this is gonna sound crazy. If maybe not in our like hardcore punk space, but like in the pop or the just the that kind of space, if you can catch a song that becomes like some weird ass like TikTok song or something like
Yep.
that, or a
Yep.
sound, if you can create a 30 seconds of magic in a song, that's your
Hmm.
ticket, which is crazy. Whereas before it was like, oh, that, one hit wonders. Now you got, here's 30 seconds of
Yeah, 30-second
magic.
wonders. Yeah, like
Yeah, it's
literally.
crazy.
I know so many songs. I only know the snippets of what becomes like popular and big on
Right.
like Instagram or TikTok. And I'm not on TikTok, but I see because of like Reddit, because of social media, I see a bunch of like TikTok videos, right? And
Hmm.
yeah, like we all know these like, like the Wednesday dance, that was viral and all these like other different songs. And I'm like, oh yeah, I know the bit, but I don't know the actual song this bit is from. So I
Right.
always find it weird.
Yeah, it's because we feel like we're like the old man, like like yelling at the
Yes,
clouds,
yeah.
really. And because we're kind of old school, where it's like, oh, let's make this album and stuff. And then nowadays it's like, no, just but like even our vocalist super into kind of the not like into like the analytics of what makes a band and like when to post and when to do that,
Yeah,
and which is
yeah.
awesome because I'm glad we had him
Hmm.
kind of that mind in the band. That really helped us out a lot. He did a lot. Um, but yeah, just kind of that idea of like
Hmm.
like watching your listens and stuff like that is just wild.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you left the band because of a kid. So how old is your kid right now?
She is, oh gosh, what is today? What is today? She's 14 months. So
Oh,
she's just over a
nice.
year. Yeah, so
Nice.
she's awesome. She's a wild one, man. She is funny as hell.
How
And
did how did that change your life? I would imagine in a massive way.
really big way. It's
Mm.
whereas I think it broadens your scope of kind of vision in the sense where it's like, well, I'm not gonna obviously you're not going to, like in my case, you're not going to a concert on a Wednesday night, or you're
Yeah.
not going to band like to jam with a band on a Thursday.
Yeah.
So that stuff goes out the window, which is fine. I'm cool with
Hmm.
that. But just the little like subtle things, it changes. Just like even today we were on a walk and we were talking about memories and like how
Hmm.
like your earliest memory. And I'm like, and I'm walking, I'm like, shoot, is this gonna be one of her memories? Like, it's like not trying to live up to it, but like, you like, I don't want to screw this up because this
Of
could be
course.
a
Yeah.
moment in her life where it's like, I don't like,
Hmm.
she can be like, man, that was a real doozy. Like, thanks a lot, Dad, kind of a thing. But yeah, it's just trying to, yeah, it's really changing the mindset of not being so damn selfish in a lot of cases and just
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
keeping an eye out for the other person and not just physically but just in that sense of like their memory like mentally keeping them on the straight
Making
and
sure they
narrow.
know, they're safe and all that
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get you. I get you.
yeah,
So, because of your last name, am I correct in saying maybe your, I don't know, parents, grandparents were Polish?
they are. Yeah, yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
I've barely met, and it's funny because my last name's Skowronski, but then
Mm-hmm.
my mom's maiden name is Gomolski. So she was like German descent. My
Okay.
dad's of like Polish Italian descent. Um
Mm-hmm.
so um but yeah, and you know the funny thing is like even growing up, I don't know if people feel this way anymore, but I was just very like Skowronski. Yeah, like I was so about my last name and like what it was for me and
Mm-hmm.
it was crazy. I don't know why, but I think it was something my dad instilled in me. Just
Yeah.
like yeah, having this like you're Skowronski, like it just meant something. And uh but yeah, so it's a Polish descent. Like how can I word this? I haven't really met too many on my dad's side where it really kind of comes from. Only a few. My
Mm-hmm.
dad's from kind of a bigger family and based out of Chicago, and
Okay.
he moved to Arizona before meeting my mom
Mm-hmm.
and she was living here. She was born and raised literally like as crazy as it is. She was born and raised like maybe 30 minutes from where I'm living now. It's just so
Nice.
wild. And I'm in the same boat. And what's funny, side tangent is that like with Arizona, it's always it's always we're the rare ones that
Mm-hmm.
are native to Arizona. Arizona is definitely a place where people come to live, but
Yeah.
to find somebody that's from here and is here is the minority in a lot of cases. And I'm like, well, I'm in the minority, so there's nothing wrong with that.
Can you speak or understand any Polish?
Oh, dude, no, not a lick. What's fun? That's funny you say that. So there was a job. I had a job as a server a long time ago,
Mm-hmm.
and there was two. Like as crazy as it was, there was two siblings that I worked with that were Polish,
Okay.
and they were like Skowronski. Like, oh heck yeah, dude. I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
yeah, and they're like, do you know how to say your last name correctly? I was like, Skowronski. And they're like, no, you're saying it wrong. The W it should sound like a V. And I'm
Yes.
like,
Yes. Yes.
and all this stuff. And they tried and I would butcher it now, but and I'm not even gonna attempt to try it. But that was years ago. And but yeah, I know there's that I don't know any Polish.
From my Polish exposure, because I grew up in Czech Republic,
Okay.
close to Polish border, like literally
Yeah.
pretty much on the Polish border.
Uh,
I think your name would be Skowroński.
yeah.
So
That's
like
how
something
I
like that, like because
mhm.
it's yeah they have the W and the N. I think it's like a soft N where you like pronounce like a N
Yeah.
sound because we have that in Czech as well. So like I think it's like Skowroński, like, if I were to guess, but I'm not Polish, I'm Czech. So if Polish people listen, sorry, like but no, like that's awesome. Damn. So okay, so you've obviously you love movies.
Yeah.
You're a musician.
Hmm.
Um, but besides that, what makes Core Core? So like if you had a Tinder profile, what would it say?
It would definitely highlight movies.
Yes.
I
Hmm.
think that's a given, but um I think it just like I think just like maybe comedy in general, like just my demeanor and how I kind of view
Hmm.
things and not to say it's like skewed or anything like that, but I tend to try to make things funny to myself.
Yeah, yeah,
So, like, there'll be situations, things like that, where I'll say something or I'll say it in a certain way that I think is funny.
Were you like a
But
class clown
oh,
almost?
totally, dude.
So same like me, yes.
Yeah, I had to be like center of attention. It seemed like at least the way my parents talk about it, like it was
Hmm.
always like, watch what I'm doing. Watch, here I'm gonna
Hmm.
put on a little show. Watch me. Which I guess, geez, I sound like a narcissist, man.
No,
Because
like a natural
and
performer. That's like a, you
yeah,
were in a band, like you're
and
a
then in a
performer
band, right?
from
So
a very early age. Yeah.
So I guess yeah. So definitely probably something like that where I feel
Hmm.
like let me like if I'm in a situation where it's like, well, how can I zhuzh this up
Yeah,
to
yeah.
make it something?
Hmm.
How can I, stir the not stir the pot in a negative way, but how can I, what
Yeah,
can
like
I do to get
spice it
people
up.
moving? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
What can
yeah.
I add? What flavor can we add here?
Hmm.
Yeah.
So is it fair to say, like, besides like movies and like obviously you started a family, there you don't really have any, or you don't have any time for other hobbies? Is it fair to say, or is there?
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. And there's definitely stuff I would love to
Hmm.
do. I love just like art and doing art and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just finding the time. I mean, I could definitely, I'm sure if I sat down and kind of worked it, I could totally find the time. But um for like painting and stuff like that or drawing that I love, that was like my first love growing up is drawing and
Okay.
cartoons and stuff like that. So I had a blast with that. But yeah, I think now I wouldn't say the family's a hobby, but it's definitely
No,
something
obviously.
that I like to cultivate and,
Yeah.
and to try to it's crazy as because it's just like how can I word it? It's almost like if I'm not in the same room as the kid is just it's like okay, I'm not doing enough. It's like they
Hmm.
got to be there. So I'm just I find myself just trying to utilize every point in time
Hmm.
to be around the kid to again provide as best memories as possible.
Yeah, no, I think that's a nice sentiment, actually. I really like that.
Yeah.
Do you, maybe that's a bit too personal, but can
Yeah.
you see having another child or maybe two, or
Oh,
is one enough?
no, we funny enough, yeah, we've talked about it and I think we're of the mind. So kind of to turn it back. So I have a sister who is 6 years older than me.
Okay.
And my wife has a brother who is like a year or two.
Hmm.
And they're just with that dynamic, even in that, it's so different between me and my sister versus
Yeah,
her and her
yeah.
brother, just that difference in age.
Hmm.
And so we've definitely talked about having a second one and probably, once our first kid is maybe 3, just so
Hmm.
there's not too much time between, but there's enough age difference so that we can kind of try to have it not feel
Hmm.
like it's just back to back, no sleep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I cannot imagine, like, so far I'm with no I have no
Yeah,
children, at least not that I know of. But
right. Ooh.
but yeah, but like, yeah, it may be behind the corner, maybe, maybe not, I don't know. But yeah, like, it's always like, it's one of those things. Is like, I still don't know whether I want a children, because like it's just, like, looking in the future, I'm kind of pessimistic about the future.
Right.
So I'm like, will they have good enough life for me to bring
Mm,
extra people into this world? Or
that's
is,
true.
it's, but again, that's just my pessimism. So don't let it influence you, okay? This is just me.
No, no, I think that's no, you got to think that way. Expect, I mean, we've had when me and my wife
Hmm.
we're talking about. I mean, it was definitely a conversation around that. We wanted to make sure that it wasn't like just like, oh, we're having a kid. It was like, do we want this? Do we? And so
Hmm.
there was definitely conversations where it's like how you're saying, like, where are we heading right now and that we don't have control over. Well, we have control over this, we have control over
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
let's just focus on that.
Hmm.
And so that's what kind of we're falling into. So it
Hmm.
worked out. But yeah, everybody tells you, oh, get ready to lose sleep.
Yeah.
And you definitely do. Um, but I don't know how to word it. But if you kind of like if you're strategic about it, I guess is the way to say it. It's not too
Yeah.
bad. It wasn't the worst. I mean,
Hmm.
probably that's me saying it now. Maybe like if I was in the moment,
Hmm.
if my kid was like 6 months old, I'd be like, don't do it. Oh my God, this is the oh God. But it's not too bad. And so
Yeah. Yeah. So are you currently working, or are you, at home with a child, just, helping it? Like,
I wish
uh,
I didn't have to work. No,
okay,
I'm full time. No, yeah, so I work, but the nice thing is, my company does let us work from home. So
nice.
so I do get a fair amount of time in between all the other nonsense that I do for work
That's
to
good.
be home with the wife and kid, and my wife too. She works, but she kind of is her own boss in a sense. So it's
Oh,
really on her
okay.
terms.
May
So
I
we
ask
get to
what field you work in?
so I work in telecommunications. So
Okay.
I do like TV, internet service for homes. I'll just say it, I'm a project manager. So
Ooh.
we so like something that we're doing right now is we bought a few smaller companies and we're trying to transition them into our company and things
Hmm.
like that. So I'm a part of this project to bring in kind of to spread the service out amongst other areas in the US.
Can I
So
ask what's the service? Like, or is it like
like
top secret?
no, like the company itself or
No, no, like,
oh
like,
the actual
so, like
oh
the
no, it's like
project.
internet service. So like yeah, like let's say you
Oh,
buy a house, you call and you get one of the salespeople, like they're the ones that are setting up internet service for your home. But
so
in the
ISP.
project management, yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
okay,
So
okay.
so
That's
on
pretty
my
cool.
end, yeah, I do more of the corporate nonsense piece to it and
Oh,
it's so much fun.
Uh,
Yeah.
uh, my commiseration, yes. Like, it sounds so fun. Like, I also work in IT, but I do not work in contract, so I'm happy for that. Like, no
Right
contracts
on.
are no. Like, IT has its own challenges, but like, working with contracts and people and have this signed and have, and
Oh
then it
yeah.
needs to go through legal. If you work for a big enough company, it needs to go through legal. Legal tells you, oh, actually, this, page 34, we don't like how this is formulated. It needs to go
Yeah.
back. It needs to be formulated like that. And I'm just like, oh, nope.
Just tell me what to do.
Yeah, just no, no,
Just tell me
no.
when we're ready to work.
Exactly. So you mentioned you're from Arizona, from Phoenix, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. So if I were to ask you, I think you might be the first one from Phoenix. Maybe I'm trying to break my brain. I
I
think you
think
might
you
be
may have
actually.
I think you may have had somebody, I can't remember a name, but I think there was one homie that
Okay,
was
okay.
also in there. I can't remember though.
But if I were to ask you, like, I'm gonna come for a week.
Yeah.
What's is there what's like the best thing to see in let's say Phoenix, right?
Yeah.
What's the best thing to see in Phoenix? Where would we go and like eat? Or, like, is there anything like that's really great about where you live?
So there is a ton, and I think if it was a situation where it's like allow me to be the guide, it would definitely
Hmm.
kind of be in downtown. They do this thing called First Fridays, which is they block off the street, and it's changed a little bit now,
Hmm.
and it's kind of my hardcore punk aesthetic is coming. It's became kind of corporate, but
Oh,
they block the street. There's music, there's people doing live like paintings and art. There's all this stuff going on.
oh, that's
And
cool.
yeah, and you just kind of run amok and like see all this stuff and there's
Hmm.
food vendors and so it's a lot of fun
Hmm.
on at First Friday and especially being downtown. That's the one thing when I think of Arizona and Phoenix is I wouldn't say it gets a bad rap, but I think it's kind of dismissed on how like culturally like how much culture there is that it pulls from here in Phoenix and you just get a really cool mix of everything.
Yeah.
Any background, it's so cool, and that's what I like about it. And at least when I was growing up, it felt that way. But to the question, yeah, so First Friday would be something where you're seeing all this art and stuff like that.
So is it
Definitely,
sorry, just to interrupt. So
yeah.
is it every single Friday of every month
Yep,
that
every
happens?
every first Friday of the month they do it. And I
Nice.
don't know, I can't remember if they're doing it in like the summer when it's
Hmm.
the sun here, but
Hmm.
they definitely pick it. I will say it gets really going in the winter time here in November and December in that time frame.
Okay.
So it gets going. So that's a lot of fun. And then obviously I'd probably say a lot of the cool little like venues for music. You can see a lot of cool live music. And again, being that it's so culturally kind of spread, you can go up the road to see, like I'm saying, like a punk show where kids are jumping off the walls and stuff like that. And then if you wanted, you could drive down the road and see like a jazz band or something like that. There's so much kind of new change or differences and things like that, but it all works together. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
Uh, and then probably beyond that would be I would have to say uh like heading out to just what is it? I honestly probably camping or like something outdoors, like
Hmm.
and not even having to go like where everybody says like Grand Canyon or Flagstaff or anything like that. No, I would probably
Hmm.
say there's an awesome spot in a place called Payson, Arizona, which is not too far from Phoenix. It's just maybe like an hour and 20 hour
Hmm.
and 20-minute drive up north, and there's a place called the Tonto National Bridge, and it's this cool like rock formation that you can walk under. It kind of has like some falls, like water that falls from it and stuff like that. And it's an easy hike. It's pathed and everything like that, and it's really nice, and you don't have to go far from it. Um, so I would definitely say the Tonto National Bridge is a spot that I think
Hmm.
everybody's like Grand Canyon, but there's also a ton. And that's just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay,
yeah.
that sounds good. Is Arizona or Phoenix is I'm trying to rack my brain. Is Are you guys known for like specific cuisine where like I don't know it'd be like great I don't know Mexican because I know like many American states, especially like down south or like more
Yeah.
southern, are like for like Mexican food or something like that.
We definitely had like there is some
Hmm.
awesome Mexican food here.
Hmm.
Um, and for my brain, I don't know. I wouldn't say that we're like well known for any true cuisine. If anything, there's a thing called a Sonoran dog, which is a hot dog, and they put like and it's like I don't even know what comes on it. I've never even had it, but um
I've never even heard of it, so
yeah, it's called the Sonoran dog, and it's so they. I think that's probably the closest that we would have to like a dish here. Um, and then if you were to like, but I think again, it's kind of regional. I
hmm.
think that would be kind of our like Phoenix hub.
Hmm.
But then I would also attribute a lot of like the indigenous stuff, like the fry bread. The Indian fry bread is a big kind of thing here, at
Hmm.
least from my perspective, and with the reservation just north in North Arizona, yeah, I would
Hmm.
definitely say like that. They have these they kind of make fry bread tacos also and things like that.
Wow.
So it's really cool. Yeah. So I would probably say that if I had to, it would be a battle between a Sonoran dog and the fry bread, and probably the fry bread would win. So I would probably say that's going to be our poster boy for Arizona cuisine.
That's
But even yeah, but what I've seen a lot lately is kind of I'll say the yuppies. A lot of like the more like fancy, the upscale stuff has been rolling in, and
mm.
that's kind of a bummer. So it's been a lot of that, and it's a lot of this. There's a place called Scottsdale, Arizona, which is kind of they call it
I've heard
it's
about
the
it.
it's the ritzy spot, but they call
Hmm.
it Snobsdale. At
Ah.
least that's what our mid lower class residents of Arizona call it. I call it that, but Snobsdale. So that's where they have all these the yuppie restaurants and stuff
Hmm.
like that,
Hmm.
where you
Yeah.
can take your photos of your food and nonsense. So I try to avoid all of that crap. It's not for me, but
That's the punk in you, I'm guessing.
yeah. It's me shaking my fist at these people.
The old man yelling at the clouds. You're like, oh, yeah, yeah.
Like, get out of here. Where's the mom and pop shops, man? Where are the people that actually try?
Okay, do you have any like favorite mom and pop shop like in Phoenix that's like they do amazing like so such and such dish or whatever?
There was one up the road, and it's a vegan joint, and they're called Green, and they're amazing. They do a lot of like kind of like vegan comfort food, so they'll do a lot of like hamburgers and stuff like that, and more American
Hmm.
style cuisine. So they're awesome. And there's another spot, it's called the Coronado, and that one's a little kind of yuppie.
Hmm.
But they have really good breakfast food that's vegan breakfast food that's really good. Um, so I would probably say those two are probably the go-tos for me if I have to find something like downtown or anything like that. So
Okay. can I ask, are you vegan or is
I
it just,
was. I
oh, you were?
was.
Okay.
So I was vegan. I'm trying to think how long. Probably like 8, 9 years I was vegan.
Wow. Wow.
But um and so that was cool. Yeah, it was definitely like, how can I word it? At certain times it fluctuated between like, oh, it's for health, and then also times where I'm like, I'm gonna join ALF and I'm
Hmm.
gonna go save these whales, damn
I
it.
see. I
So
see.
I was kind of in the middle of that,
Hmm.
probably leaning more to wanting to save the whales.
And
I
now
think
are
that was
you like a
probably the
vegetarian or are you just like a meat eater
no, I
or
kind of, yeah, I kind of, I started stepping further into it. I think what it was, yeah, honestly, I think it was financial, because I
mm,
got married, and then we obviously had been living together beforehand, but it was almost like we were buying two separate like things
yeah.
of groceries, and it's like one of us is gonna have to bend, and I guess it's gonna be me.
So your
So.
wife, it was not like a vegetarian or vegan.
No,
I'm
no,
hearing.
yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah, no. And so I was like, well, we'll start tiptoeing back in, and I started with like salmon and stuff. I was just so worried that I would just like any like bite of it was just gonna destroy me, and I was
Yeah.
just gonna be out of commission, like just hurl in my bed like cold sweats, like I can't. Oh God. But slowly made it way in, and so far so good. I'm not a big like cheese guy, so I stay away
Okay.
from cheese, which is probably crazy being in Arizona and all the Mexican food, but
Mm.
it ain't my bag really.
So, okay, before we move any further, can I ask
Yeah.
that? So, you've been a vegan for like 9 years almost.
Yeah.
What's the biggest difference you've noticed in those like 9 years and now when you're back like to eating
Hmm.
meat and all that? Is there any difference? Like how you feel, for example?
Love it. Honestly, no. I think
Okay,
I feel the same as I did before.
okay.
And which I'm trying to think of like I'm kind of like looking back at the
Hmm.
years that I was vegan and saying like, okay, well, here's that. Um, yeah, I think ultimately, and also to that, I look back at it and go, dang, I really wish I went full tilt. Like I wish I leaned super into it and went like full blown like raw.
Oh
I
yeah.
think that would have done it. I think that would have been a huge change just in the way I feel and stuff like that. But
Hmm. Hmm.
um. I I, but I will say this, that when I look back at being vegan, it was basically me eating like bread. Just like I was
Ah.
just everything was bread, it seemed like. And I was just like, and I'm over this. So I guess I'll make the change, and we'll try something different. So
Okay.
um
So nothing like okay, okay, all right, fair enough.
yeah,
Because I
sadly, I
heard
wish I know I'm sure there's people that are like, I feel so great, and like,
yeah.
oh, it gives me energy and stuff like that. And I'm like, nah,
Mhm.
maybe it's me. I don't know. But uh kind of not, no bullshit here. I felt the same.
No, I appreciate the no bullshit thing. That's I like it. I like it.
Uh, uh,
Okay, well, I think with that we can move to this or that, where I'll give you two choices, and you tell me
ooh,
which one would you prefer.
let's do it.
Okay, let's do. All right. So, Corey, iOS or Android?
Sadly, iOS.
Why,
But
sadly, nothing to be ashamed about.
I think, well, it's just kind of like you're a part of the wave, right? You're just kind of riding it in a sense. Now, um, did I take the time to learn
Mhm.
about like Android? No. And then you just kind of fall into the herd of, well, I guess I use Apple products now.
You like what you like. Look, like I've always said, like my girlfriend is all in on iOS. She's got
Yeah.
all the Apple products, and she's happy. I don't, and I'm happy with my Android. So it is what it is.
I love it. I think what originally, and again, it kind of goes back to my caveman brain, meaning like I just don't have like the mental capacity for a lot of like technical stuff. But
Yeah.
um, like when I was growing up and like in high school, it was like if I wanted to use like Photoshop and stuff like that, I had to have a Mac, right? It's like I had to have the Mac to do
Hmm.
the digital art that I wanted to do. So I guess that's where I'm going. So that's
Fair.
where kind of I headed on that. And then now it's kind of like, well. Not necessarily anymore. You can do
Yeah.
this or use even something beyond that. So it's
Correct. Like I've learned Photoshop on Windows. So like in
right.
nothing, like I think first time I've properly touched like a Mac, anything close to it was like 2012.
Okay.
which is insane. Like, but yeah, TV shows or movies?
Definitely movies,
Okay.
but I kind of wince at that answer now just because of the length of movies nowadays. I'm
Mhm.
over it, man. I think I think kind of going deeper, if there was ever like just a scratch of a hot take, it's just that I'm just so sick of the 2+ hour movies.
I see.
Like I'm like, give me like I'll look at something and I'm like the other day I was looking and there was like an 87-minute movie. I'm like, hell yes, dude.
Yep.
Like,
I
like
know
in and out.
exactly. Yes, I know exactly what you mean. Like sometimes you have one of those nights where it's like I can squeeze in like one movie, but like nothing like 2.5 hours. But oh, 75 minutes. Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
let's go, let's go,
Yeah.
let's go. I feel you. I feel that.
Yeah, so definitely movies in that sense.
No, yeah, that's fair. Tea or coffee?
Oh, dude. If nobody can see it, but I'm literally rocking
Oh,
a
damn.
full-grown pot of coffee. Like I
That's a
brewed
proper pot. Like,
so
and
coffee all the way, brother.
is that just for you, that one pot?
Yeah, dude.
Holy
I
shit.
know. Oh, that's too funny, man.
That's
Um,
all right.
yeah, so this is I crushed 2 cups already. So I'm
Mhm.
rocking, according to this pot of coffee, I'm
Okay.
rocking 8 cups of coffee left. So I
Wow.
will I drink it all? Probably not, but
Mhm.
to know it's there if I need it, yes, it's good.
And do you just take it black, or is there, like some
Yeah.
sugar, some cream, or
Yeah, I go just black. I can't. I'm not about all that stuff. I like the bitter taste. So,
that's fair.
but I will say though, there's some. So my dad got me some coffee from Louisiana,
Ooh.
and it's like, yeah, it sounds great. And then you see like the ingredients is coffee, and then this, like, I had to look it up. It's this plant called chicory, and I'm like,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
And I'm like looking, it's like, oh, there's like health benefits and stuff like that. I'm like, cool. So I brewed it. I'm like, this smells like a straight up cigarette. Like this coffee smells like an ashtray.
Okay.
And then I drink it and I'm like, oh. So it's like, I don't know if it's an acquired taste, but I'm like, "Ugh, I gotta drink its coffee, dang it."
So not your taste. It's an acquired taste, but not
It's
your acquired
definitely,
taste.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
see.
there's an acquired taste for coffee, and then there's this coffee, and it's just like whooswah.
To be fair, I'm into coffee, and I never heard of coffee with chicory. Like I know what chicory is, I never heard of
Yeah.
that being used in a bit of alongside coffee beans. So
I don't
that's a
recommend it,
new
my
one.
friend. Yeah, I don't recommend it.
Especially if it smells like an ashtray. No, no, thank you very much. I do not smoke. I grew up in a household
Right.
that was a smoker and just hated it. No, no, no,
Same.
no, no, no.
Yeah.
Money or free time?
Oh, dude, can I have both? No.
Of
Um
course, like that's the ideal scenario, isn't it? Like, give me both. Yes.
um it, it probably I I feel like my brain wants to like twist it and say,
hmm
well,
hmm
I'll take the money so I can pay people to do this, so that will give me the free time. Um,
That's how it
but
works, really. Yeah.
right. So if that's my gut answer, but I think ultimately what that tells me is like, okay, you want the time. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I want the time to be able to be creative, to be with my family, to do all this other stuff, to experience things. So yeah, I would
hmm
definitely say the time is what I would love.
Okay. Okay. Honesty or other people's feelings.
Uh,
I know.
uh, uh, I was listening to a few and I was like, I wonder how I would, handle these.
And here you are.
And here we are. On it, like, I'm saying honestly, but probably
Okay.
other people's feelings, as crazy as it is. I hate confrontation. I just hate it.
hmm
And if just the thought of like having to go to somebody and say, hey, so and so, here's this issue. Oh God, that kills me.
Yeah.
So if there's a way to get the point across and to not be to feel like I'm the bad guy in a situation, then and if it leaves the other person happy and good, then yeah. I care
Okay.
more about the well-being, for some reason. I don't know why. I care
Mhm.
about the well-being and mental load of somebody else rather than myself in a lot of cases.
Okay. Can I ask, is your wife your opposite, or is she kind of on the same wavelength?
Total opposite, dude.
Because it usually works out like that, where like there's the meme. It's like me, and then my angry girlfriend who's gonna tell the waiter, like that my order is wrong.
Yep.
So I'm like, is that the meme? Is that
Oh yeah. Or like when like even on like super simple things where it's like we're going through a drive-through and it's like,
Hmm.
hey, can you make sure there's no tomatoes on my burger? And it's like, oh God, I have to tell this person, can you take the burger? Like even just super stupid stuff like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh great. Like I'm sweating. Or if I have to make a change to the order and it like that is there, I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta remember this. So even that kind of stuff.
On an unrelated note, I already like your wife because I'm the same. No tomatoes on my burger, please. Like I eat anything but raw tomatoes are my enemy. I
Yeah.
straight up think they are evil, the tomatoes itself, they are evil. And I think they're trying to warn us by having that taste and like we don't listen. Most people don't listen. It's my conspiracy. Thank you very much. Like the
I
tomatoes are
will,
straight up
yeah.
evil. Like I do. I love tomato sauces, like
Yeah,
ketchup, or like curries, all that. If it's
right.
blended and if it's like seasoned, I'll eat it. But raw tomato, no, 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 no,
It's
no.
so crazy. Like
I've tried so
I'm in the
many.
same boat, and I think it for me at least, there's like two tomatoes that are just like the ugh, they're
Yeah,
terrible, and it's like those Roma tomatoes are trash, and then just there's like the big gnarly ones. I'm just not into. Yeah, they're just. I'm with you 100%. It
I've
is
tried
just
so many. Like people always tell me, "Oh, you need to try these ones." So I try them. No, they're shit. Oh, you need to try these ones. I try those. No, they're shit as well. And I think there's something about the taste and consistency altogether where it's just like, I again, I know I'm in a minority. Many people love tomatoes. All power to you. You can have
right.
all my tomatoes. Like, I don't care. Like, I'll save you the tomatoes so you can have them. Like, just no. Anyway,
Yeah, not
summer
happening.
or winter?
Ooh, well, being in Arizona, I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
go freaking winter, dude. I am so over summer here.
That's my additional question because obviously, again, from my European brain that's never been to any US states, I know
Yeah,
Arizona has the like, it's a hot state and it's like
yeah,
is it like a dry heat? It's
yeah.
not, yeah. Yeah. So how
Which
does winter look like in Arizona?
so it's I think it kind of tricks people because it's the desert. So the
Hmm.
desert it gets super cold at night.
Yeah, yeah,
Um
yeah.
and then it kind of it levels out as the day goes, obviously. But yeah, it
Hmm.
gets freezing at night. Um But with it being a dry heat, I if I had to choose between dry
Of
and like
course.
humidity, oh God, dry all day. Like
Hmm.
a couple like a year or two ago, we went to Florida to
Hmm.
Key West, and like literally it's like you step out your door and it's like you just took a shower. I was just like just sopping wet. I'm like, this is horrific.
Yeah.
I miss my dry my dry heat. But yeah, to the winter, it's I would probably say, we get maybe 50s, 60s Fahrenheit here.
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't know what that is in Celsius. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I think I know roughly. Like, yeah, okay, okay. That
Yeah.
doesn't sound bad. I'm guessing
No,
there's no snow.
not down in Phoenix. You can drive like similar to like Payson, like I was saying, like you could drive an hour and a half north and catch snow.
Okay.
But if you want like true snow, you're gonna have to go to Flagstaff, like the 2 hours out
Yeah.
north to really get that, and then you'll get a few inches. Whereas like areas like Prescott Valley, like I said, Payson, those kind of towns, they get just like the little sprinklings of snow. So.
Hmm. Hmm.
But but yeah, I am so over like even this year, like what was it? Like we're in October
Hmm.
and just this week we were still rocking 100 degrees above, like
Wow.
above 100 degrees. And like it's like it's almost Halloween. Like can we like it should not be feeling like this. And so it's
Yeah.
been rough this year heat
Yeah.
wise. And ugh, yeah,
So
it's to where you don't even want to go outside. It's just like I'm in.
I believe it. And as far as like the, dry or humid heat, I am also with you. I would rather have the dry heat. Like I've been because of my work, I've been to Singapore like last year, and
Oh wow.
they have very humid like heat
Yeah,
where like even when it was raining, like how you have like
that
you're
sounds
warm
terrible.
someplace and then usually the like rain cools it down and then it's like you have like the lovely after air like atmosphere. They're like, like you breathe in and it's like, oh, it smells so lovely and
Right.
fresh.
It's crisp. Ah.
Yeah, exactly, crisp. Yes, that's a nice word. Yes. In Singapore, when it like I was literally walking down in the rain and it was still humid as fuck. And I'm like, what is this? Like I loved it there, but like I was like, what is that? It's so humid, man. I was just so like I'm also there with you. Like give me dry all the time. I can deal with that, but just humid and then nope, 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 nope. Probably the most important question of all,
Ooh.
ninjas or pirates?
Ha 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 ha. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Well, I'm gonna say pirates. I'm gonna go
Okay.
pirates on it. Yeah, just I- like sure, like it's I don't know. Like if I was a pirate or a ninja,
Mhm.
what would I'm thinking it like that. And yeah, I think definitely maybe
I
am I
think,
a boat person? No, but
but I think pirates are more punk. Like you're like such a
yeah,
punk
I
person,
can see
right?
that.
Against the
Yeah.
establishment, all
There we
that.
go.
And like
Well,
ninjas are more like, there's a code of honor. You need to like do
oh,
do 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 do. Whereas pirates are just like, no, matey, here's my rum. I'll rob this place.
I was just gonna say that. Exactly
Hmm?
what you said, Luke. I was gonna say that. So that
You,
is
you fancy some nice rum, by the way? Like some decent rum? Like
Oh,
why
dude,
not?
back in the day, yeah. But now
Yeah.
but maybe now I have a code now, which is the father code, I guess.
Yes, you need to
Oh.
be a bit more responsible adult. Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, look, every once in a while, you can have one or two. It's fine. Just,
Right.
as long as somebody's watching the baby, it's all
There we
good. It's all
go.
good.
There we go.
And the last question would be free will or destiny?
Oh, gosh
Oh,
darn.
I know.
Whenever I hear you ask this, I always think of that movie Serendipity with
Okay.
John Cusack.
Yeah, I have actually seen that. Yeah.
That's like one of my favorite movies. Um,
Nice.
and I I would probably because that one's like really about like they
Mm-hmm.
think they kind of have control over it, but in kind of a weird scape they don't just because
Mm-hmm.
of the way the cards are falling. Um,
Yeah.
I'm definitely of the mindset of probably Destiny,
Mm-hmm.
where like not to say like it's like oh but like I look at it for myself as like, oh, I was meant to, play in a band or something like that. Or
Yeah.
like you get that inkling of like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I want to do that. And then you start to visualize it and then it just kind of manifests and it happens. And I think that kind of is where like falls into it. Maybe I'm answering it the other way, but as I'm speaking it out, but
No, 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 it makes sense. So you
yeah.
think, so yeah, so you think you've always meant to be in a band. You've always meant to have the wife you have, and you've always meant to have one kid, possibly two or three down the road. So it's always,
Yeah.
so it's gonna happen, but
But when
it's
or
always gonna
how
happen.
or
Yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah. Okay.
there's something it's there's definitely a kind of like an end goal, if
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
will, in certain cases, but it's just how you get there. That's kind of
Yeah.
up to you in a sense. And if you want to go there, like you don't it's like there's like kind of a guy waving on one side of the road going, "Hey, you want to come on hang out over here?" And maybe some of the choices you make just doesn't fall into to place that way,
Mm-hmm.
but some
Mm-hmm.
other things, that were meant for you do happen.
Okay. Okay. I can dig it.
Yeah.
All right. And before we move to the Flix part of the podcast, do you have any
Yeah.
hot takes you're willing to share with us?
Let's see. I wish I could think of something. I was kind of going off the cuff here and just kind of pulling from what we've talked about and and trying to think, but I don't have anything offhand that I could think of. But I will say this: if you throw something out, I would totally be down to talk about it if you had
Okay.
something.
Well, how do
But
you feel? Obviously we are recording end of October, and
yeah,
you being from Arizona, and me knowing about US politics, I know Arizona is one of the five five states that really matter. Like,
yeah,
rest of the states, sorry guys, you don't matter. Like, like there's no way California is gonna go red. Really,
yeah,
there's no way. So like, and it's just so there's always like five, and you are in one of those five. So
right.
I've always wanted to know, like, obviously not how you're gonna. Oh, we don't have to go there. It's more about how do you feel living in one of those key states, especially when it comes to the great selection you guys have yet again.
Well, it's kind of yeah, I think how can I word this? I'm there's obviously one asshole that's
Mm,
running and and a great woman that seems like she has her head on straight. So
Hmm.
I think we know where I'm leaning towards in that sense. And um, to be, I think now that you're like saying it, it's like, yeah, it kind of, it really lays down like how, yeah, your vote does matter. Like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
definitely need to vote, especially if you're in Arizona.
Yes.
Um,
Especially in
and
one of those states.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and you really need to get out there and and yeah, obviously with like that the background of the music and stuff like that, you really learn um just you learn other people like all
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
that's really it. It's like yeah, we're all around the same age, yeah, but everybody like I was playing, there's kids that were from, there's a place called Tuba City, which is north, here it's or it's right on the border of like Arizona and Utah. It's in the reservation, and there's kids out there that are coming down to like Flag to play shows, and they're living in these like shacks and stuff like that, and but they're playing music, they're doing what they love, and they're talking their message and stuff. And like just that mindset alone is like I'm just doing it because I want to do it, and like and you're kind of sticking it to the man in a sense, but you're
Hmm.
sticking it to the right people that want to get that kind of person down,
Hmm.
and and to be a person that can go, you know what, I'm gonna vote, and hopefully I can help that person out rather
Hmm.
than line the pockets of the asshole over here. Then yeah, I'm gonna do it. And to that, yeah, I think kind of branching off of that and having that feeling and wanting to make sure like even my friends are voting and stuff like that. Like our vocalist, he's awesome. He'll like message people. He'll go on Facebook and be like, if anybody just wants to talk like their views and stuff like that. It doesn't have to be uh my views. It doesn't have to be, it can be opposite, but if you just want to talk to, kind of lay it out and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
he does a lot for that too. And I have a friend down south in Tucson who does a lot of work for the Democratic Party and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
he's awesome too. Um, so it's cool to see how big of a voice you really do have in these swing states. So that's really cool. Um, and now I'm kind of tangenting, but to go off of that too, it's just the to know that you definitely could accomplish this.
Hmm.
But then, of course, you have the ladder of that where you get the other half,
Yes.
and you have to deal with that in this state. And um, it just it sucks. Like you want to just shake a lot of these people, and it's just like why do you really think this guy has the best interest for you? Like what is your how? Like you're living next door to me and you
Yep.
have this and like and I'm no millionaire.
Hmm.
So why do you think it's going to benefit you? Like it's not. And
Wait, what do
so
you mean you're not a millionaire? Like you played in a band for so many years. Like you're
yeah,
obviously set for life,
yeah,
honestly.
I wish, dude, but no. Um, but yeah, it's just cool. That's what throws me off. And what also throws it is that the way that these people, um, these people, the way that they convey their message in,
Hmm.
like, I
Hmm.
get like there's the political signs and stuff like that, but
Yep.
like I've just never seen, and I've only been in a part of a few elections, but I've never seen where it's been so gnarly of like what's the word I want to use? Like celebrating a person like
Yeah.
the way that they do. And
Well, it is a cult, isn't it? Like
yeah,
it is straight
essentially
up.
it's crazy. And like you'll sit there and it's like never in my mind would I think, oh God, raise the flag that says the name, man,
Hmm.
and do like I would never like that's crazy. Put it, my giant lifted truck, yeah, throw the flags on that bad boy. Like
Hmm.
let's like it's just crazy to me, the way that these people kind of convey that message. And I'm sure they're thinking that it's going to benefit them and stuff like
Hmm.
that, but.
Hmm.
I just, again, I wish I could just shake people and just be like, it's not, it really isn't. Like at the end of the day, it's not benefiting you. Like
Yeah.
look at the what he's trying to do with his idea with these tariffs and stuff and how it's gonna break down the, it's going to minimize the taxes and all that. It's like, no, it's not. The tariff is going to go, which makes them want more. We're going to have to spend more money now, which means that if you go to the grocery store, even
Hmm.
since the tariff is raised, your milk, even the stupid shit, like the
Yep.
milk and eggs is going to go up. Like,
Yep.
I wish I had the numbers in front of me, but there's been the analytics were done on that plan, and they look and it's like it's going to cost the average American like an additional like 2 grand a year just on
Hmm.
basic expenses. It's like, really, dude, come on, like
It
it's
is it is crazy. It's again like like the day after day there's like this Nobel Prize 14 times Nobel Prize winning like economist says Donald Trump's plan for the economy would be very very bad for the for the average American, and
yeah,
half of the country is like, oh, that's fake news. Well, no, they don't know what they're talking about.
yeah,
These economists, what do they know?
yeah. They don't have like doctorates and PhDs or
No, they haven't
whatnot,
studied it the entire
degrees.
life. They
Yeah, they
haven't,
haven't
yeah.
gone to so.
See, speaking of Arizona, like again, my European mindset is like, are there many Confederate flags flying around?
Not here, no.
Okay, okay.
Thankfully, but yeah, right now those Trump flags are waving, my friend. They are
Mm,
everywhere, brother.
I believe you.
And it's crazy, dude. But to boast off of that, like,
Hmm.
because I was in the band and we got to play like around, in certain states, we got to go around tour a little bit,
Hmm.
and I think that really helped my mindset on things, because you see that those other lives and things like that when you're on the road playing shows and just driving through these little towns and stuff like that. And there was a town in Kansas, and we were just driving through, and I have never seen so many Confederate flags before in my life. It was like I felt in danger. Like, it was
Yeah.
crazy. Like me, like just who I am. Like, this is scary.
Hmm.
The amount that they're waving these things. Like, this is unsettling.
Hmm. I
Um,
believe it. No, like I only see like some videos of certain, places in America, and it's just like those houses where they find like Confederacy flags and all that, and it's just like, or the cars with like all the bumper stickers and all that. I'm like, damn, like that's fucking mental. Obviously, it's not the entire picture. It's not like that everywhere. Like I understand,
right.
there are certain pockets where it's like, as you say, more than the average. And it's just like, damn, I cannot imagine being there. Like that, how is that or like every time I see some like, this is a guy ordering in Starbucks and he has like AR-15 and strapping 5 other guns on his belt. And I'm like, yeah, I would definitely feel much safer like ordering my coffee there.
Yeah, like
Just,
especially that, like even on like the gun control stuff, like, yeah, it's cool to have it's
hmm
fine to have guns, but like,
hmm
why does somebody that lives in Phoenix, Arizona, like, why do you need an assault rifle? Why do you need these like military grade weapons, to defend your house? Like, dude, come on,
I
like
would go even one step further. Like, why does anybody like like any America like need assault rifles? Like, I understand like in nine
exactly, yeah,
millimeters. Again, I actually like guns. Like like pistols, like
yeah,
shotguns, all that. Yeah, but at the same time, do we need assault rifles that are capable of killing a couple of hundred people in a minute because they
right,
can shoot as as quickly as that? Probably not. Like I would,
right.
or not even probably no. And it just and that comes from somebody who actually I like guns and I would love to shoot from various kind of guns on a gun range though. Like don't want to
Right.
have like I don't want to have machine gun at home.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling, like, at
Yeah.
least for me. And obviously there's, different,
Have you
obviously
ever
people,
experienced that, by the way? Like you going, like, I don't know, grab a coffee someplace and there's like a Patriot, like a loading, like packed and loading.
nothing like to that extent where it's like,
Mm-hmm,
full blown like assault rifle. But I definitely, and I think it's just me with that idea of like I hate confrontation, where like,
mm-hmm,
because you can carry here, and obviously there's concealed carry, but you don't need that type of permitting
Yeah.
to really carry here. So
Hmm.
there's just people walking around a lot, not a lot of times, but you catch, once in a blue moon,
Hmm.
somebody just strapped with a pretty heavy duty, pistol on their side. And it's like this is and you're at a gas station just trying to, like buy a coffee or something. It's like this is kind of spooky just because
Hmm.
I don't have control over this. Like I don't know what this guy might like. It's
Yep.
there and you see like you read things on certain things and these people that do have these guns and it's like there was one, I don't know where it was. I wish I remember, but like they obviously broke into this person's house, but they fled and he still just rocked them. And it's just like
Hmm.
just that like having it gives them it almost feels like it gives them the opportunity to go, well, I got it, so let me just use
I
it
was gonna say,
now.
might as well shoot
Yeah,
it.
so it's just
Yep.
like, oh my gosh. So it's just like how when what is their line that
Hmm.
once it's crossed that they're going, is it just like a simple like, yelling match or is it, how far do they go before they pull that thing out? It's scary.
You don't bring yelling into a gunfight. You don't
Yeah,
bring
exactly. True.
You don't bring
Yeah.
fists into a
Yeah.
gunfight. You'll lose every time.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, last point before we move forward. Do you want to make a bold prediction as far as how this election will go? Because like we are recording on 27th of October, so neither of us knows. So do you want to make a bold prediction?
I think I'll say I would hope that she wins.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And um and that it just because I think that really would do it. At least for me, it's like not only does he lose the
Mm-hmm.
election again, but he
Yep.
loses again to a woman, I'll say
Mm-hmm.
it,
Mm-hmm.
an African American woman on top of that, like
Mm-hmm.
like that just speaks volumes for me, especially now, like with a kid, a daughter. That's like that really says something, and I think it just would I would hope it would just smash and obliterate any kind of ego that fucker has, man. I just would like it just would, yeah, it would put it such a great taste in my mouth,
But
for that.
she didn't become black until, until a month ago, right?
Oh, jeez,
That was a great clip, or just like, yeah, like
it was
how
insane.
somebody cannot comprehend that people can have two different parents from two different places. It's fascinating. Just,
Yeah.
yeah, like everything about this election fascinates me in a very wrong sense of the
And
word.
that's what that kind of that I went it kind of pisses me off because
Yep.
I remember as a kid, like even like the Obama
Hmm.
kind of run, like I don't it just doesn't it's ever since this asshole has started running, it just feels so it doesn't feel like elections. I don't know. Like there's just it's something off on everything, and everything is just
I
it
like
ain't
I
it
was
ain't the
having
same, damn it.
Yeah, no, I was having this debate at my work, and I said this thing. I was like, I think what's the worst about Donald and what he brought is there's no sense of shame anymore.
Yeah,
Like I remember from where I was growing up, whether it's Czech Republic or like the world politics, because I was actually always like interested in that. I remember like, one scandal was enough to like actually like, stop your any kind of process and you
yeah,
would not stand a chance. And then now and like, and you would resign because you known like, oh yeah, they would vote me out anyway, so might as well resign.
right,
And with him, what's changed, and even all over the world now, there's no sense of shame anymore. Oh yeah, I'll do this, and it doesn't matter. I always have a hardcore group of people voting for me, so I'm not gonna resign. Fuck you. Oh, I'm
right,
gonna do this now. So fuck off. So who's gonna stop me? I'm no, no, no. I'll admit to it, and I'll
right,
boast about it, because there will always be people like, yes, finally somebody said it. Oh. And it's just
right,
like there's no sense of shame anymore, and like, and there's no like punishment or no quote unquote punishment, like where people not only don't vote you out, some people vote extra hard for you, and I'm like, what the fuck?
right. Yeah, and it's I think what does it for me too, and not to say that this has to be the path to
Hmm.
presidency, but just like the background itself, like, I remember like growing up, it's like, well, the only way to be a president is you've got to do this, you got to do that, you got to,
Hmm.
have a
Hmm.
political science background, you got to,
Hmm.
you got to, do this. And it just seems like all of that kind of that foundation of it just is completely out the window now because of this guy. And like, and now it's like, obviously there's the like anybody can be a
Yes.
president, which totally, absolutely, but
Hmm.
it's like, but at what extent, and to which, like, that's another thing too, is like this, like, just the age, I guess. Um, it's like,
Yes.
why are we rocking these candidates that are so fucking old? Like, can we get some fresh face, like, fresh blood in here? Can we get somebody with a little bit more of a progressive view on things like that actually matters to the America of now rather than 30 years ago?
Yep. No, like before Biden stepped down, I was worried because I was like, yeah, but like, this doesn't work like that in America. Like if he actually steps down, like, that's gonna hand it over to Donald. Like,
Right.
and now like it seems like Kamala actually stepped up and everybody actually united behind her. Like all the Democrats, everybody was
Yeah.
was basically, or seemed to be united behind her. And there's like a new, what feels like to an outsider like a fresh air of
Yeah.
hope. So I'm
Absolutely.
like slightly hopeful, even though apparently it is now like dead even again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how the fuck is this dead even?
Well,
But
that's the other thing
just
too, is
yeah.
like I'm like, I was joking with my wife. I'm like, November 5th, I'm taking the day off so I can just like watch.
Hmm.
And because it's funny because kind of the older generation, or the younger generation, I'll start there. We're very much so mail in, like do it, get it
Yeah,
over
yeah,
with,
yeah,
put
yeah,
it in. So you see that rise, and then the older generation is, we got to do it in person, we got to go to the poll and do it. So it's
yes.
like, which really sucks because it's like I just want to know, and I'm not gonna know until days after this damn thing.
No,
So,
honestly, like I wish Americans would adopt the system many other countries have. Would we have like a two-tier system where you have
mm,
two rounds, like France, Czech Republic, we all do the same thing for like
mm,
presidents, I mean.
yeah,
You have a first round where you can have, if you want 50 people running, doesn't matter, right? And you can actually vote for your favorite. And then either one person, unless they get like 40%, the top two move forward. And then in the second round, it's just those two. Nothing else. There's no
wow.
third option. There's no fourth option. You cannot write your own candidate. No, no, no.
Go
That was
right
for
in,
the
yeah.
first round. No, second round, person A, person B.
That would
If
be
you don't want to
awesome, dude.
vote, stay home. Well, obviously, you shouldn't stay home, you should vote. But
Yeah,
like, like because the other problem here, and it's same as 2016, many people were like, "Oh, I'm not gonna vote for Hillary. I'm gonna vote for lesser of two evils. I'm gonna vote for Jill Stein, or I'm gonna vote for
right.
that. What was his name? The
Oh,
libertarian
my man, Bernie
Gary.
Sanders.
No, 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 Bernie. No, Bernie
Oh,
was kind of screwed. No, no, no. It was like there was a
yeah.
libertarian. It was like
Oh
Gary.
gosh, I don't
There
remember.
was the guy who kind of described climbing Mount Everest as he like fucked the mountain almost. He was kind of weird. He was one
Oh
of
man, I
them.
wish
He
I could
was one of
remember.
them. He was one of them weird ones. He was polling like 6% actually. So
Oh wow.
but those then in those swing states, took quite a few thousands of votes either
Yeah,
way. So I have a strong suspicion. I hope it's not going to happen, but I have a strong suspicion that's going to be yet again decided by these people who vote Jill Stein again, because she definitely has a chance again. Like, yeah, guys, no, don't do that anymore. Just
yeah,
like have a first round, and then just two people, just out of that first round. Like, but then anyway,
yeah. But yeah, fingers crossed that
I know.
the
Yes.
spawn of Satan doesn't win.
I'm rooting for you guys. I'm genuinely rooting for you because yeah, I'll be watching 5th of
Yeah.
November. Yeah. Anyway, do you anything else you wanna share, or do you wanna move to the Flix part of the podcast?
Uh, I mean, we could keep going. I mean, you know what that raises for me, and
Tell
I,
me.
I feel so terrible about this as being like almost like an ageist
Mm,
now, and like I feel like there's like the respect your elders,
yeah.
but I think it's like just tainted me where I'm like, man, fuck these people.
I think there's a balance. Like I honestly think there is like on a case by case basis. I wouldn't
Right.
because I've obviously like I read many opinions where like there should be a maximum age for a presidency. I don't think so. I think it's genuinely case by case because there are many
True.
people who are like older than Trump and don't seem like it. Or even Biden, because Biden
Yeah.
was older. But Biden presents old. And the same kind of now, if you focus on Trump, like he actually like is worse than
His age is
ever.
showing.
It's worse than ever, but we kind of gotten used to him just
Being that
basically not
way.
main.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like it doesn't show as much where
Right.
he slithers his words and doesn't make sense. That's fine because his group will like, oh, we know what he means. It's
Yeah.
fine. Don't pay any attention to actual
Yeah.
words.
He says what he wants to
Yeah,
say.
we have our keywords that we understand. That means he's behind us, and he will
Yeah.
deport all the Mexicans and all that shit that he stands for, right? We know the keywords. We know what to listen for. We understand the dog
Just
whistles.
the yeah, those bug ones. Yeah,
Yeah,
those
yeah, yeah.
buzzwords.
So like I would say like it's case by case basis. It would be nice to have somebody younger. Like Obama is still much younger than both of them,
Very much so.
and
Yeah.
like that was a nice change.
Yeah.
And even like so somebody somebody like younger did, but it doesn't again, as long as they have the ideas and as long as they understand, they actually have a plan rather than vote for me because the other side is the Satan, I'll
Right.
save you, the other side is the enemy. Yeah, that'd be great if they didn't talk like that and they would rather focus on, no, my plan for this country is this and this, this and this. No, no, my plan is this and this and this, and we can actually talk, or you guys can actually talk
Exactly.
politics and policies and shit like that, rather than,
And
oh, these are bad, or no, they are even worse.
yeah, and that I think that raises a thought in my head that me and my wife had we talked about is that the people a lot and it goes for both sides
Hmm.
that nobody is willing to take the extra few minutes to like learn more about the policies
Yeah,
and stuff like that. And you're getting fed, and we're saying, back to like social media and stuff, you're getting fed the quote unquote information from a TikTok video from some Joe Blow who, is like paraphrasing something that was said.
yeah,
So you're not catching the full like the full essence of what the plan is or anything like that. Or like you're saying, right? All these buzzwords that these people are using, rather than just, take the 20 minutes that you do scrolling on your
hmm,
phone. Why don't you go to, their websites and read about their policies and look into
hmm,
them and stuff like that. I'm pot calling the kettle black. Like I could do the same,
hmm.
and find out more. But it's I think even that too, like how you were saying earlier about just like the fake news and all of this stuff. It's like, well, it's like who's really informed here, guys? Like
Yeah.
just go to the source, and but nobody's willing to go to the source. They just want to like be a part of the club in a sense.
Or again, or even like go past the headline because the headline is always something like,
Mm,
catchy. And then you
right.
read the actual article and like, oh, technically he or she didn't say this, they said this. Like,
Ex-
there is a context for most of it at least.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
then like it might actually change it. For Trump, it doesn't really change much, even though occasionally, yes, it's if we're gonna there was a point in 2016, if we're gonna blow up every single thing he says, we're gonna ignore the actual serious shit he says he shouldn't say.
Right.
So there shouldn't be outrage every time he says something dumb, especially if it's just a headline, catchy headline, and you know but yeah, like you go past the headline, go actually read the entire article, and then just judge it based on what do you think, what do you
Yeah.
get out of that, rather than, oh, Trump says everybody should be killed, and then like you read the quote and like, okay, that's not what he said.
Right.
You know what I mean? So because nowadays that's what sells,
Clickbait, dude.
clicks,
Yeah.
because obviously journalists online, they rely on you clicking, 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 so they need to
Right.
make it as clickbaity as it gets
Yeah.
to get your attention. No, but yeah. Hey, is there
Burn
anything?
burn social media, then I guess at the end of the day.
Ooh. Can we close that Pandora's box once it's been open? I damn. I don't think so. Like that would be nice. It'd be definitely something different, but Yeah. I
Oh
think it's one of
yeah.
those like, like one of those like AI. One, it's out, whether
Ugh,
we like it or not, it's here.
dude.
And we need to kind of live in a world where AI exists, even though it's
Yeah.
not really AI, it's machine learning. Like,
Yeah.
just to be like a bit more pedantic. The proper AI, that's where we're gonna be fucked. Like, once AI actually is what we perceive artificial
I
intelligence to be, then we're fucked.
yeah.
Then yeah. So far, machine learning doesn't scare me.
No. So
Nah.
far so good.
Well, no, that's not so good because like I don't
Well,
like when
yeah.
it's replacing people. When some
Oh,
companies are firing
dude.
people to replace them with AI, that's
That
not
yeah,
good.
dude, tell me about it. Like even nowadays, I wouldn't say nowadays, but with AI now, like like there's pieces of my not my job, but
Hmm.
that there's project managers in my company that
Hmm.
utilizes AI for like basically doing all of their stuff, like
Hmm.
writing their emails, creating their meetings, creating the agenda, like all of these little avenues. And it's like, well, then what's the point of like at one point they're gonna see like, well, we can do that. Or the other
Hmm.
person, the other side of it that we're setting these meetings up for, that we're emailing, like, they're gonna go, well, what the hell? Like, we can just do this if they're just gonna be plugging away information into, Copilot or whatever the hell it is. It's just that kind
Yeah.
of stuff.
Yeah, it's no, like there needs to be like again, it's a tool. We should
Hmm.
use the tool, but it shouldn't replace the person
Don't,
or the people within the
yeah,
company just because oh, hey, this tool can do it passably well. It's like that reminds me of the I don't know if you heard, the app Duolingo, for the
yeah,
language
yeah, yeah,
learning.
yeah.
From like there was an article a couple of months ago that yeah, they let go 80% of their translators because AI does good enough job. There was a quote, good enough
Good
job.
enough.
Yes. So they actually let go of 80% of all their like translators. And I'm like,
Wow.
see, to me, that's no, that's not a
Good
that's you're
enough.
misusing the tool. That's just no, no. And especially when you're charging the end product for somebody to use your end product.
Ugh.
No, that's no. I'm
Yeah.
like I'm not against actual people using AI for, oh yeah, write me this email or set up this e-meeting for me with these details. Yeah, that's
Trivial.
fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. But like, I am against like, people at the top be like, you know what? If we let go 20 people here because we can technically automate through this AI, you know what? Let's do that.
Yeah, that's scummy.
That's where
That's
I would
scummy.
draw the line really.
Yeah,
But
at that point, that's not even on the AI really. It's on the on that person making the decision.
it's
So
yes, correct. Correct.
yeah, so that's
And
trash.
anything else you would like to talk about? Or do we move to the movies part?
Yeah, let's keep on rolling here, my friend. What do we
Okay,
got?
okay. Let's go to the Flex part of the podcast then, where I ask you, Corey, what is the last new movie you'd rate 5 out of 5? Anything 2020s onward.
So probably this year is where I'm looking since I've been real heavy on the movies this year.
Okay.
I kind of have two, but I think it's kind of a toss up.
No, hit me with them. Both of them. Okay,
So
let's
so
go.
the immediate one that came to mind was Dee Dee, that new one that had came out a couple months ago. About the kid, and he like gets in with the kind of, it's like a mid 90s kind of a vibe where he's a skate rat kind of kid, and he's
Okay.
making like YouTube videos and stuff. And that one, I think it was just like a slice of life from my own like my own self. I saw
Mm-hmm.
like just because the kids, I think I want to say it was like early 2000s that the movie set in, and he's in
Mm-hmm.
high school, and he's using MySpace and stuff like that. So it was just it like, well, I think I'm trying to remember, like he had a crush on a girl, and on her MySpace was like a Panic at the Disco song. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, and so he sets the song as like his ringtone on his cell phone and shit. And it was just like I just saw myself so much in that movie that I was like, this is top tier. Like this
How do
movie was
you
made
how do you
made
spell
for
that
me.
movie? Like
So it's
I
D
never
I D I
DI.
D I.
Okay.
It's su
Oh.
it's such a solid movie. Um,
I cannot say I've ever heard of that movie, but I'm looking at it. Looks pretty good.
yeah,
Okay.
it's a very good movie and highly recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay.
I'm trying. I can't, what's homie's name? You know what really did it for me in that movie?
Mm-hmm.
There was a scene. I don't remember if I'm actually, it wasn't even a scene. It was the director. He was doing an interview. What's his
Mm-hmm.
name? Got it here. Sean Wang. So
Mm-hmm.
Sean Wang, he did the director of Didi. He did a an interview,
Mm-hmm.
and he was talking about movies that like inspired him. And there he was inspired by this there's a skate like a skateboard company they release movies of the guys doing tricks, and they have their montages and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and it highlights the skateboarders. But there's a company, a skateboard company called Lakai, and they released a video called Fully Flared back in early 2000, like mid 2000s. And he referenced that Lakai video,
Mm-hmm.
and like my brain exploded because I
Mm-hmm.
remember being I still like it was yesterday. Um I was in my English class, and there
Mm-hmm.
was this kid by the name, his name was Dylan, and he came up to me, and he handed me the DVD for Fully Flared, the Lakai video, and he said, "You got to watch this, man. It's so freaking good." And back then they had I think Eric Costin, who was a big skateboarder, was on the team with them. And just watching it, and the opening montage is incredible because it's these guys doing their tricks but in like slow motion. And there's one where the guy is skateboarding, and he clears like 12 stairs, so like a staircase basically, and he just clears it. And when he lands, the whole staircase explodes. And so
Okay.
all these shots are like these slow motions of these guys doing tricks, but then the thing that they kind of do the trick over or gap behind them is exploding. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. Who did this? And it was Spike Jonze. So I'm like,
Uh,
Spike Jonze is the guy. And so from that
mm-hmm.
point, I was just like, let's like this is amazing. And then of course all the music videos that Spike Jonze did and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a lot of fun.
So that's
But
part of the DD movie.
it kind of plays in. It's
Okay.
funny to see because it was very much so like holy shit, like me
Mm-hmm.
and the director of this movie, like we're the wavelengths that me and this guy seem to kind of we were cut from the same cloth almost.
I
And
see.
then like the representation that he had in school was the same as that I had in school, and now he made a movie, and it's like, dude, this feels like me,
Mm-hmm.
which was really fun. So that was a really good movie. But I'm trying to think of the other one that I had. I'm looking through. Oh, so, a new one that I just saw a couple weeks ago called Sleep.
Okay.
This South Korean horror movie, Sleep. It's about
Ooh.
super cool. They it's like they have a young child, and it's this young couple, and the husband starts to have like almost like like what's the word I want to use, just like having issues sleeping, like he's
Mm-hmm.
sleepwalking and all this stuff, and like he's breathing heavily, and the wife is like freaked out by it, and like what the hell's going on, and he starts like talking in his sleep, doing all this creepy shit, scratching his face, and then he starts like eating raw meat out of the fridge and
Oh,
stuff. It's like what
nice.
the. And then
Nice.
like you kind of find out that he's like possessed, but you're not sure if it's like if he actually is possessed or if she just thinks he is, because she's like,
Mm-hmm.
obviously in this like this space of like your lack of sleep, like you're dealing with the child and all this stuff. But and then it does kind of, so towards the end it answers that if he really is. At least for me, it
Mm-hmm.
felt like that was the question it was asking, is he really or not? And then
Okay.
towards the end it answers that. But I think it was the visuals were really good. I love movies where it's like a really small cast, just
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
like in their apartment. It's really all where it takes
Yeah.
place. It was so good. So those two really were big standouts for me.
I'll
And
say I've
especially for
never
this
heard
one.
of the DD movie. Now it's on my radar, so thank you for that.
Yeah.
I think I've heard of the Sleep movie not that long ago from by I don't know where, but I definitely heard of that, and
Mm.
I heard good things.
It was, yeah,
So
it wasn't on my radar, and then
mhm,
I was like, you know what, let's just do it.
mhm,
And I
mhm.
put it on. I'm like, this is awesome. This is great.
Nice. I'll need
Yeah.
to check it out as well because like anything like like Asian cinema is still my very weak oversight where I'm trying to watch
Same.
more and more
Yeah.
because obviously like we consume what we know, which is mostly like American, right? So it's the kind of like default for us.
Right.
So like you need to like get out of your way to actually like get more like exposure to that. But the more I see, especially from like especially South Korea and Japan, it's just like damn, those are some bangers after bangers. It's just
I remember, yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like a lot of like Asian horror movies specifically. it's like I was in it for a hot minute, and it felt like there was kind of a big boom of like
Hmm.
Japanese horror like in kind of the early to late 2000s. And
Oh
me and my
yes.
buddies, we were really watching. I mean, like Tokyo Gore Police. I think everybody's probably seen that one and stuff like that. But like, and then just it kind of, for at least me, you kind of start doing other stuff and it falls off. But yeah, to go through, and especially like right now, like on Instagram, right? I'm doing like the 31-day challenge where you post about like, there's like each day has a different prompt and you have to pick a movie for it. And there was a like an Asian horror, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't know what to pick because I haven't seen enough. And
Hmm.
and I'm looking through like, okay, well, what have I seen? And I'm like, okay, well, like what was there? Like The Wailing is probably like a really big one, or like even like what I'm probably butchering it, but the original take on like Ring, or one that really stood out was a movie called Shutter back in the day.
Hmm.
That like
Hmm.
I remember some visuals from that. I don't remember the plot, but the visuals of like this like entity like sitting on this guy's shoulders, like super creepy.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, definitely what's the word? Like a genre within a genre, the subgenre that I really want to
Yes.
dive into in the next year or so.
Like especially horror, like
Yeah,
Asian, like yeah.
even there was another one to this year. I've just been crushing this year.
Hmm.
Movie called Cottontail. I don't know if it's directly like an Asian film. I think the director is English,
Hmm.
but it takes place in a kind of, I believe it's Japan. That one's really good. It's about like this older couple, and the
Hmm.
husband is kind of a more artistic guy, and his wife kind of starts having these inklings of dementia, and he's dealing with that while dealing with like his son who's older, has his own family now, and the son feeling like he needs to step in because the dad's, he's kind of the artistic trope where it's like, I'm not really the most what's the word, reliable.
Hmm.
So it's kind of that. So that was I'm trying to remember the name of the director, but that movie crushed.
Is
So
it Patrick Dickinson?
yeah, 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 yeah. That movie was great. Such a good
Again,
movie.
never heard of it, but like it has Kieran Hines as a main character. Yep, I know him, obviously, English actor.
Hmm.
Okay, that seems again
Yeah.
not one I never heard of, but I that's why I love this because like to
Yeah.
talk about people who watch something totally different to what I watch, and I try to watch from everywhere, like play from all over place. Speaking of like Japanese like cinema,
Yeah.
I just like 3, 4 weeks ago, I finally managed to watch the original Ring, the Ringu, from
Yeah, yeah.
'98. Have you seen that?
The original, no, I sadly I've only seen the terrible English remake.
To be
Uh
fair, the Ring remake is actually pretty good. I
it
don't
was
think the sequel is good.
I
I
haven't
haven't seen
seen
the
that one.
sequel. I have,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
me
haven't
neither. But
seen
I know just the people who've seen it are like, oh yeah, the sequel is bad. But if origin the remake is actually good. The original, damn, my dude,
good.
it's fucking
I gotta
awesome.
watch it.
Like
Add it to
the
the
only
list.
I was just talking to this about our buddy Shane,
Yeah.
and I told him this. The only problem with that movie is not this movie's fault because it's been remade and parodied, unlike Scary Movie 3.
Yeah.
You know the beats, so and
True.
even Scary Movie 3 like took the entire plot of that movie. So the original is actually this compelling mystery slash almost like a detective story where it's before internet, so they need to actually like dig into some books and
Investigate,
newspapers
right?
and investigate what is this tape about, where was it made, how was it made. And what I loved about this original was how it refuses to be horror for most of the movie. There are like some
Mm,
scenes where like it was set for a jump scare, and in a lesser movie, they would have put there like a sound effect. They were like, "Oh, jump scare! Oh, look, be afraid!" And no, the movie just lets it play, and it's still kind of like suspenseful. It's building the suspense, and the last half hour happens, and that's where the quote unquote horror happens. But
right.
by that time, you're already like on the edge of your sofa, and I'm like, what the fuck? This is just being like, like almost like you're in the oven and you're being grilled, and the temperature is like increasing by every 10 minutes. It's just like slightly increasing, and it's just like, it's amazing fucking
Wow.
movie, even after all these years. Only knock I can say is you know what the mystery is. You know where
Yeah.
that leads to. You know the resolution, but it's still like there's some points where I'm like, oh yeah, that's actually that's new. So like I would strongly recommend even after all these years, 98, it's effective. It's very
I'll have to check it.
effective.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it. Yeah, I remember seeing the Ring
Yes.
and being just like a little kid really
Hmm.
watching it when it first came out and being but only being like creeped out by I mean obviously the very end.
Yeah.
And so it kind of I think it falls for me in the same at least Ring falls in
Hmm.
the same boat as the movie Jeepers Creepers
Oh yeah,
because
yeah.
I remember like this is a story I love to tell now. Where when I was a kid, I was horrified by the creeper in Jeepers Creepers. Like I had to sleep on my parents' floor. I thought it was coming
Hmm.
for me. Like I was so freaked out by it. And
Yeah.
then just this month, just watching horror movies, me and my wife were like, let's turn Jeepers Creepers on. Let's see if it. Oh my gosh, it does not hold up. It's so bad and it's so campy. Like there was one
Hmm.
part where like in the movie they're like running over the creeper like 50 times and like
Yeah.
his arm gets ripped off, his leg gets ripped off. But homie then gets into his giant rusted old truck and goes to the police station. And
Hmm.
there's like this like shot where like it's like this huge shot. Truck pulls up and he comes out of it and he's like hobbling on one foot to the police. I'm like, why would they put this in? This is just like he's walking like Charlie Chaplin. Like he looks like the tramp walking. And like and it's just and I was like, this is not scary at all. Why did I think this was scary? So now I have this bad taste in my mouth about Jeepers Creepers being a terrible movie, even though when I was a kid, like I was so mortified. And I'm like, I wish I didn't watch Jeepers Creepers because I loved knowing that I was scared by it. And now
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
that's the worst thing, isn't it? Like you love a movie because you watched it when you're like in the formative years, like 12, 13, 14, and you remember enjoying it, and then you rewatch it 20 years down the road, and someone's like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah.
And it's just
Exactly.
as the worst. Like, oh, I remember it much better. And almost like I wish I would never have rewatched it because I wish my memory of the movie would stay with me rather than what it actually is.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I get you. So, what's the last teen quote unquote movie you would rate 5 out of 5? Anything in between 2003 and 2019?
Yeah. 2005.
Oh, let's go.
So we got Ryan Gosling, Ewan McGregor, Bob Hoskins. It's a movie called Stay. Like this,
I,
Stay is incredible. I haven't seen it
mhm,
till this year. My wife like raved about it, and
mhm.
we turned it on, and literally the whole movie, I was like, "What?" Like I couldn't like I would I've never had a movie where I've been so like, "Wait, what just happened? Wait, what? Like that's happening now?" That movie is incredible. I loved it so much.
I've literally just watched it like 2, 3 months ago. I was like, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure that's the Naomi Watts movie. She's there as well. Yes, Naomi Watts.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
she's in
yep.
it. Yep. That
That's a
that movie
great
was
one.
so good. Yeah, I wish I kind of knew more about it, but I was just like I was like, wait, Bob Hoskins is in this? Yeah, let's go. Let's do
Mm-hmm.
this. And just I love the look of it too. It's just like the oversaturated look on
Yep.
it is so cool. Um, it's so good.
No,
And
I
just all the
remember.
underlying themes.
Yeah, no, I remember like this is how you make a movie stand out. And it's like,
Yeah,
there are some choices how the movie is actually shot. And like there's like some like rewind shots, if I remember correctly.
I think
There's like
so.
some
Yeah.
different like effects where like, oh, like even though I'm not like 100% on board with the entire movie, like I actually will remember this because that's makes an impact and it stays with you. And
Hmm.
especially nowadays where quite a few movies look and feel the same. This one, makes an impact just by trying something new, something different. And
Yeah.
that's a that's a great one. That's a great
Yeah.
one.
It's so good. Such a
What
great
ab-
movie.
what about some quote unquote adult movie you would rate 5 out of 5? Anything between 2002 and 1975.
Ooh, well, like I really want to go into
Well,
the seven.
hmm
I'm hinting at later on as we
let's
talk, but
go.
I love the 70s. But
Nice.
as far as film goes, I think that's my bread and butter. But the
Nice.
movie I want to talk about or to bring up on this is from oh gosh, now I'm drawing a blank on the year. I think it was 19. Oh gosh, what was it? 1984, somewhere around there in the early 80s, maybe late 80s.
Okay.
Christian Slater. Um, Tony Hawk, Gleaming the Cube. Have you ever heard of Gleaming the Cube?
I
Such a
don't
solid
think
movie, dude.
so.
Oh my gosh. So Christian Slater is like the
Hmm.
skate rat, right? He's like he's there's there like the opening scene is him and his buddies going to a airport, getting in a
Hmm.
private plane and flying over Los Angeles looking for empty pools to skateboard. And so they
Ah.
find one and then they go skate it and stuff like that. So it's so good. And Christian Slater's character has like a half like an adopted brother, and
Hmm.
his adopted brother kind of he's very like mathematical and stuff like that, and he finds out that this guy that he works for at this like video store or whatever the hell it
Hmm.
is like smuggling like drugs and guns and shit. And so when so the owner of the store finds out, and they're kind of pressing the kid like, hey man, don't tell anybody.
Hmm.
But the like the goon that they have working for him kind of goes a little too far, and they accidentally kill the kid. So they put him in a hotel and make it look like he did it himself. And so the whole movie is now Christian Slater as this like skate rat going around trying to figure out who the hell killed his brother and
Hmm.
stuff like that. It's such a good movie. It's so much fun.
Okay.
Music's awesome. It's skateboarding, and Tony Hawk works at a Pizza Hut, and he's driving like this red Pizza Hut truck around with all these like skate rats in the back of it. It's so cool. It's such a good movie.
See, like I've never heard of it. However, like Tony Hawk working in a Pizza Hut, and like there are like drugs and guns involved. It screams 80s.
It's so
Like all
good.
those like like
I
checkpoints almost like check check check.
yeah, 1989 is when it came out,
Yeah.
and I remember my sister had a boyfriend when
Hmm.
when she was in high school, and he brought it over one day. I'm like, what the hell is this? And I looked at it, and I remember watching. I'm like, this is awesome. And then later on, it's like I'll revisit it, and it's definitely a movie that I can watch. Not
Hmm.
every day, but I can find myself maybe every month. Like, let's throw it back in. Let's do Gleam in the Cube one more time. It's so much fun.
Do you think, as a person who has never been into skateboarding, like I know who
Mhm.
Tony Hawk is, obviously he's a legend, but like
Right.
I've never been into like skateboarding. Do you think I, as a person, somebody like me, could actually enjoy it, or is it just like a
Yeah,
niche group of people?
this yeah, I think you could still because it's definitely it's it has it the way skateboarding is portrayed in it, it's just a piece of the character. So
Okay.
there's obviously parts where like it it's not the central ideal, but he utilizes skateboarding
Hmm. Hmm.
throughout the movie to achieve certain things.
Hmm.
Like like there's like a car scene where obviously, I mean, if there's a skateboarding in a movie, they got to have a car chase scene where
Of
kids are
course.
going crazy on skateboards. So it's a lot of that,
Hmm.
but but there's still a lot to it where it's like, he's trying to, not mystery, but there's kind of some thrilling pieces to it, and him kind of lurking around these warehouses trying to figure out what the hell happened to his brother and stuff. So it's still, it's good. So the skateboarding is just a piece of Christian Slater's character. It's not the main focal point of the movie, which is nice.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
still it's in the movie. But yeah, I think if anybody could throw it on and not be like, I want all this damn skateboarding. No, it's a solid flick.
I've quickly checked because I have an app where it tells me where everything streams, and it's
Okay.
actually streaming on Amazon Prime, at least in the UK, for
Heck
free.
yeah.
So like I might try to check it out because like
Heck
Tony
yeah.
Hawk and Christian Slater, that
You're gonna watch and get halfway and be like, what the hell did Corbett make me watch?
we'll see. Like maybe once the spooky season is over, because I'm trying to cram as a few more horror movies like I haven't
Same.
seen. I'm basic. Like what can I say? I like watching horror movies in spooking season, especially in
Same.
a spooking season. Yeah. All right. So what about last old movie you'd rate 5 out of 5? Anything older than 74?
So I want to shout out Shane on
Okay.
this one. But I got two movies again. I can't help it.
Fair.
Shout out Shane. So me and him, we kind of we every month we just like pick a movie and we'll like review it, and then I'll
Hmm.
post about it on my Instagram. And he picked this movie called The Woman in the Window from like what was it, 53 or something? Like something crazy. And
Hmm.
that's what I love about Shane is that the cat has like the older movies locked down, and
Yep.
I've some of the stuff I've never heard of, and he picks bangers.
Hmm.
And this movie, The Woman in the Window, Fritz Lang, so freaking good.
Ah, yeah.
Um, and that's another movie similar to Stay, where I was like, homie, dude, like, because it's about, these three dudes, they kind of go out drinking, and one of the guys meets this chick, and she's like, why don't you come back to my place? And so he goes back, and this other guy comes in. It's like, what the hell? And he starts fighting the main character. The
Hmm.
main character accidentally kills him. And so they're like, oh, I'm not supposed to be here. I got a wife and kid, this, that, and the other. So, and his buddy, one of the drinking buddies, is like a detective, and then
Hmm.
his detective buddy has to start kind of like trying to solve this mystery of this murder of this guy, and he's kind of in the background. So, and like the main character's like slipping, he's saying certain things about certain like pieces, and they're like, well, what'd you mean by that? And it's like, dude, like just shut up. Like, so it was such a fun movie to watch because just from that like thrilling piece, like, oh God, what is this guy gonna say? What is he gonna
Hmm.
do that's gonna give it away? And so that was a excellent movie.
Okay, so that's a woman in a
Solid.
window. Okay, what
Yeah,
was the
Woman
other
in the
one?
Window. My ultimate favorite. I in October, I love the horror movies, but especially I love Hammer horror. Those are my bread and
Yeah,
butter. I love it
yeah.
so much. And I wouldn't say I get made fun of, but I get weird looks where I say that Frankenstein and the Monster from Hell is my favorite of the Hammer Frankenstein films. The very last
Okay.
Frankenstein movie of Hammer is the one that I liked. And that, what was it, like 78 or something like that? I can't remember offhand.
Hmm.
Um, but it's such a fun movie. And so it's like, Dr. Frankenstein, Baron Frankenstein, he he basically, I think in the last one, they like um oh gosh, I'm drawing such a blank on the word. But there it is. He fakes his death. And then he's
Okay.
like at this he's working at this like insane asylum under
Hmm.
a different name, and there's this kid that starts kind of to pick up on his writings and stuff, and he starts doing the shit that Frankenstein was doing, and he gets thrown in the institute as a patient, and the kid like is looking at Frankenstein and is like, I think I know who you are. And the Baron's like, yeah, okay, like in a roundabout way. He's like, you can help me. You can like be an apprentice for me. And you start to find out that Dr. Frankenstein, he's still up to his old, shenanigans. And he's doing stuff, and he's actually starts using the patients
Hmm. Hmm.
that die for his experiments, and he's like, there's like a guy in the institute that's like a sculptor, and he sculpts all this earth, and there's a guy that plays the violin and things like that, and there's a mathematician in there. So it's like, we're going to take his brain, we're going to take this guy's hands, we're going to take the body of this guy, and we're going to make this monster. And they do, and it's like this gnarly like big old hairy like ape looking monster. It's so much fun. And
Hmm.
again, it's another movie where it's in one kind of place. It's really just in the asylum. It's like these five or four characters that are kind of together, and it's one of my favorites. And again, I mean, it's Peter Cushing, so he's amazing.
Legend. Like he's a
Yeah,
he is.
yeah, so good. Even in the one that I saw where he's playing Van Helsing, and it's oh gosh, the Seven Golden Vampires. It's like Hammer and this like Chinese production company made a movie where Van Helsing goes to China and has to fight kung fu vampires.
That sounds like, see, that sounds like my kind of shit. Yes, I would love to watch
Highly
that.
recommend that. Yeah.
The thing about like only seen like two or three Hammer movies. Like I know exactly what you're talking about. And I just wish, because I am a movie collector, like physical movie collector.
Mm,
I wish somebody, someplace, probably Hammer
right.
Studios, would fucking release like an ultimate Blu-ray
Just
set of like
could you
all
imagine,
the
dude?
like like a, because I know they did Frankenstein. I know obviously they did like a 12 Dracula
Yeah,
movies.
they done. Yeah, I can't remember
Yeah,
how many. I think it's in the same boat for Frankenstein
yeah,
too. Like they
exactly.
went
Like I know
crazy.
they've done like series, and like with Peter Cushing obviously plays, is in most of them and all that. And like I know Christopher Lee is in a bunch of them. I would love to watch them all, but I don't want to buy like, one here,
Separate. Yeah.
one there, and then like, ultimate. I wish they would release a proper like a Blu-ray box set of like 40 movies or 50 movies. Yeah, give it to me for like 300 pounds. I would pay. Like
There's a lot of people that would.
just again, like, because I'm a kind of completionist. So if I were to start it, like, that's why I kind of left, because I'm like, okay, but it's a lot of movies, and I don't want to pirate them all. I would like to watch them legally. So like, like
Right.
give me the way, give me some way, and not like one Blu-ray is like 20 pounds. I'm like, okay,
You're
dude,
killing
like,
me.
yeah, like my finances are, no, like in this economy. And it's just no, but like that sounds awesome. Like especially the
Yeah.
one who, fighting against Chinese vampires.
Yeah, it's so good. Now, I will say Peter Cushing unfortunately doesn't get too much into it
Hmm.
with Kung Fu, but he's there.
I mean, like he probably had a certain age at that time, so I would imagine not.
Probably.
But like, can you imagine like Peter Cushing doing kung fu against? Just
Yeah.
that'd be so fun. That brings me so much joy, actually.
Yeah, 1974. The
Wow.
Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires. That's
Again, like I
that's
need to. That's the thing. Like I'm trying to watch every single movie ever made, which is obviously like slightly.
holy cow,
I
dude.
know. That's the reaction I usually get because people are like, yeah,
Which way
no.
you I gotta know which way are you just like plucking or are you starting from one end and working?
Usually, like nowadays, like I try like my letterbox account, I usually try to run it, quote unquote, watching meaning watching movies where you don't know what's coming next. Like
Yeah.
I'll try like I try to watch like a new movie, like 2024, let's say, and then
Yeah.
like a movie from 1936, let's say. And
Wow.
just there's no rhyme or reason unless I'm doing like series. Like I'm right now I'm like going through like all the Hellraiser movies. Like,
Oh, dude.
on
Hell
my
yeah.
shelf, on my shelf, I have the entire I Spit on Your Grave series, the entire Psycho, like all four movies, like all the three Poltergeist movies. Like I still need to go through, like, like I collect all of them where if I do Poltergeist, I want to see all three of them, no
All of
matter
it,
if
yeah.
the other two are shit. Like I want to see
Absolute
them.
trash. Yeah.
I want to
Wait,
see
how far
them.
are you in the Hellraiser series? How far are you in?
Almost done. I think I have
Oh, nice.
two left, and then the remake. I
In
think
the
because
remake.
now done with the era where this movie didn't start as a Hellraiser movie. It started as a standalone, and they were like I
Just
swear after the
put the
third one,
Cybernauts in. Put the
yeah,
Cybernauts
I
in.
swear after the third one or the fourth one, literally that's the like IMDb trivia. That's where for the all the other like spin-offs, like until like 2011. This didn't start as a Hellraiser movie until the very last minute, and it
That's
feels like
crazy.
it because most of them are just oh, it's rough. It's a rough watch
See,
sometimes.
and I love like I absolutely love the first Hellraiser. Like it's one
Oh,
of my
same,
it's one of my
same.
favorites, but haven't gone really beyond that except for the remake that came out the other year.
I still haven't
I
seen the remake. I still haven't. Is it any
it was
good?
it was okay.
Like I
I
heard
mean,
mostly like yeah, like it's
but
okay.
I'm the kind of guy that's like, why do we need the remake?
Yeah.
Who's this for? When I can, because I love like even the Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires. Like if
Hmm.
like I'd rather watch the 1974 version than if they were to make the new one. Like
Yeah.
that's just me though. I'd rather see the work that was put in then and kind of all the creative energy that went to that rather than
Mm.
just this I'm sure I'm sure they were very much so what's the word? Just in the mix and very excited about, the work that they did on the remake of Hellraiser, but
Hmm.
it's like it almost feels like there's just something missing and
Yeah,
it's in the
yeah.
first one and
Have
it's in
you
the
seen the
original.
second Hellraiser? Like the one after the
Which, oh
original?
gosh, I'm pretty sure I have. I'm trying to remember what the plot was. I cannot
Well,
remember. It's
it
more so the daughter, right?
yes, it kind of
Yeah.
picks up straight away. The
Yeah.
pivotal scene, what like sold
In
me, I'm
the
like, oh yeah, this is fucking awesome.
was
She
it the uncle?
wears she wears the skin of her like dead stepmom or uncle. Like she actually like like
That's
basically.
right.
And like that's the ultimate end where it's like like she wears it as a skin suit to save
Hell
herself,
yeah.
and like I was like, that's fucking metal. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, I remember very briefly that second one where she's in the hospital,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yep. Yep.
barely. Doesn't like the
That's.
wall open up and there's like the what is it like the train one or whatever the
I
hell they
think
call it?
so. I think
Maybe I'm
like
wrong.
they do blend together. Like
Yeah.
like but like the first two 100% are the best. Like the first one is
Yeah.
the legend. Like to me that's like legend of the genre. And the second one is surprisingly great as well. Like again that last scene just that's not even a last scene, but like that's the end, that's the finale in like hell. That's I was
Yeah.
like that's so fucking metal. I'm like that's just I don't think there's any other way to describe this. It's just this is like you need to see it.
Yeah. But yeah,
So,
I would, if going back to what you said
uh-huh.
about the remake of it, yeah, it's definitely worth a
No,
watch, especially in
it's
your case.
it's on my list. Like I already have it sorted out, so like
Hell
I'll
yeah.
eventually get there. Just like, I've heard like it's okay. Like as you say, I heard many people like it's okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
He's fine. Well, you already hinted at your answer here, but let's hear it. What's your
Yeah.
favorite movie decade? I
Favorite
wonder.
movie decade is the
I wonder.
70s. Give me the 70s
Oh, I'm
all
shocked.
day, every day.
Tell me
Like,
why.
I feel like everybody's answer should be the 70s.
Tell me why. Do you have any like
I think
specifics for
just
that?
yeah, just I think things were I'm sure there's an argument for every decade when it came,
Hmm.
but it just felt like people were just taking chances more
Hmm.
creatively. And the movies that we were getting at that time just felt different. I don't know. I think just the look of them, the feel,
Hmm.
um,
Hmm.
everything just it just felt so much. And just from a more, what's the word I want to use? Trivial standpoint, all my favorite movies are from the 70s.
Hmm.
At least a lot of them. Um, at least the ones that feel like they made an impression on me, I guess I'll say. There's a
Yeah.
few, but like I'm just trying to think offhand. I gotta look one up real quick because watch me say it and it not be true. Uh, uh, but yeah, like obviously like Texas Chainsaw,
Oh
that was
yeah.
a big one. That really did it for me. I think like even like a lot of the horror is what caught
Hmm.
me. Like Maniac was Maniac an 80s or 70s? I can't remember, but
I haven't
like
seen it.
Driller
I know of
Killer,
it.
that kind of like just that early gritty
Hmm. Hmm.
horror movie is just what caught me because it was just so different. Like it was almost like, whoa, they're going there.
Yep.
And it's what did it for me. And you know what's crazy? Even like looking at super big movies like Jaws, right? Like
Yeah.
I hadn't seen Jaws in its entirety until this year. Crazy
Oh.
to say. Yeah, I know. I'm really late to the yeah, shame me, please. Shame, shame.
Nah.
But I'm like, holy shit, like what was I? Where was I, man? And just but even beyond that, movie wise, like the music there that was coming
Mm,
out in the 70s, just everything, the vibe of the 70s is just so good.
it
Um,
is. It
I
is.
just love it. Yeah, right on the cusp. But 1979, The Warriors. I think my dad showed me The
Ah.
Warriors, and
Hmm.
I was just like, yep, this is my life now. This is where I want to be. And but just
Talk
I think
about a
that
mood movie like The Warriors. That's like
exactly.
about a vibe of like I've never been obviously again never been to America, especially in America late 70s, early 80s, but like that captures the New York of that time so fucking well.
Yeah. And I
Like
don't know if it's true or not. I wish it
mhm.
would show like in the trivia, but somebody told me that The Warriors was a like a college like thesis film. Like they made it for like school
Okay.
and then it just got like this gnarly praise and I was like that even just that
Hmm.
alone like even excelled it further for me. I'm like that's bad. Like so cool. Like this movie that I held in such high regard, it was just a bunch of dudes just making a movie, but it like now granted, I don't know how true that is. I'm probably
Hmm.
really off, but if it is true, hell, like I'm all for it, and that made me just even like it more. But yeah, you nailed it. I think just the look, like even like the scenes where it cuts to like the radio station and
I
like just
was
the
gonna mention that.
silhouette and oh
Just the like
God,
the lips
dude,
and like and
so
now we
good.
gonna the like the buttery smooth like a woman's voice and now warriors listen
So
and like that made such an impact. It was paid homage to in John Wick 4 from last year, right?
oh
I
really?
don't
I
know if
haven't even seen it. That's awesome.
John Wick 4 is amazing, by the way. All the John Wick movies are amazing. But yeah, in the last movie, they go to Paris because of course they do, and there's literally this homage to it where you see again, black lady, just the lips, and like now
Oh,
we
that's
have
sick.
John Wick on this and this station, so all the bits are open, and I'm like, oh, Warriors, like that's fucking awesome. Like
That
I
is
wasn't
sick.
expecting that, like John Wick 4 to pay homage to the Warriors, but here we go, and it worked so well.
Awesome.
No, 70s are all like again, you cannot go wrong with 70s.
And yeah, in the same way, I mean, shit, the Hammer films. I mean, like I was
Yeah.
saying, I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
that's where I mean, a lot of the ones that I was really into were there too. So, damn you 70s for being so great.
Or you mentioned before Texas, like talk about a
Oh
movie.
yeah,
I've
Toby
only
Hooper.
seen like only last year, I believe, the Texas Chainsaw, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I've only seen last year, I believe, and
Yeah,
I was kind of worried because quite a few of these like older horror movies do not play as well, today as they
true.
used
Yeah.
to. Because obviously, like pacing, like what we find gruesome is no longer as gruesome, or what we find like tense is no longer as tense. But that movie fucking slaps still today. Like
Hmm.
the last half an hour. is sweaty, it's uncomfortable. It like you feel the flies, you feel the sweat, you feel the
Hmm.
humidity. We talked about it like before, the humidity of that room, of that awful dinner scene.
Yeah. Ugh.
I'm like, and that ending where like the now famous ending where like Leatherface just spins around in a with his
I
chainsaw. I'm
love
like,
it.
holy fuck, that's
I love it.
yeah, it just holds up so well. So like, it's a great movie.
Yeah, it's classic. I mean,
It 100% is.
I think the town that that movie was filmed in Texas like has like Texas Chainsaw Massacre Day, like where
Of
they like
course,
celebrate like it as a national holiday.
they should. They should. Do you have any hot movie takes you would like to share with us?
I, I think I guess I don't know if they're takes, maybe just
Hmm.
opinions, but the
Totally.
one that really comes to mind, and since we're talking like horror movies and stuff like
Hmm.
that, found footage horror
Okay.
movies, handheld horror, I hate it. I hate found footage. I
All of
think
them.
it's the yeah, they're not they're terrible. Like all like you I think you watch Blair Witch
Hmm.
and you're good. Like there's what you can happen with it. I don't know,
Hmm.
like Paranormal Activity, but even like some of the newer stuff, because I think why I don't like it is that it's especially like in the acting, it's like these actors are trying to act but not act.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
either yeah, pick a lane kind of a thing. It's like act like just be your unique, genuine self, or be in the character. There's like
Hmm.
this weird middle ground where it just doesn't seem real. And that's the whole point of these found footage movies. It's supposed to feel real, but it doesn't,
Yeah,
and it
yeah,
never does.
yeah.
And that's what pisses me off. And like we watched, there's this one called Hell House, and
Okay.
um, that one does it in a cooler way because it uses kind of it sets up the story within like news and like news media, and like you get talking heads talking about the incident that happened at Hell House, which is this haunted house, and then it cuts to this team of kids building this haunted house in this haunted hotel that they're using, and stuff like that. So the setup is nice, but again, it's kind of the same one. But again, like the paranormals, there was one I watched earlier. I can't remember the name of it. Oh, it's, I love the idea of it, but it was called Invoking Hell, and it just came out this year. Or
Okay.
excuse me, Invoking Yell. Excuse me. And
Oh.
it's about this black metal band that's like going out to the middle of the woods to record their demo album.
Hmm.
And scary shit's supposed to happen, but nothing happens. And it's just like this is terrible. And so my biggest opinion, yeah, I love horror movies and I love the hell out of them, but
Hmm.
found footage just does not do it for me. I hate it.
Okay, I have two questions. Two questions.
Yeah.
First of all, so you mentioned Blair Witch Project. So where do you stand? Do you like it? Do you it's okay? Do you hate it?
I think it's good for the time because it
Hmm.
came out at the right point.
Yes.
It's like it when 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 I remember my sister bringing it home, putting it
Hmm.
on, and I thought it was real. Like I mean, that was the point, right? But now
Yes.
it's like nowadays you put these movies on and it's just like I get like it's supposed to transport you somewhere and stuff like that. But if it's a movie that's supposed to transport me to make it feel like it's real world and that I'm watching something that was really filmed in that line just never like in the blend of just doesn't happen for me.
Yeah.
And I do like Blair Witch. I think it was really good. Especially like how we've been talking about the formative years seeing it and stuff like that. Ending, of course, with Homie in the corner just is absolutely insane. But then you get beyond that and you find out that it's a movie and
Hmm.
it's not real. It's like, oh, well, and then you try to capitalize that on other movies and it's like, well, I can't really get into this. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just
Yeah.
it's I can't. I think it's more so it's like it's a George Costanza. It's a me thing, not a you thing, kind of
Hmm.
a thing where it's like I just can't get myself mentally into that space
Hmm.
of movie going where okay, this is supposed to kind of be real, but it's not real. And so
Yeah.
I'd rather
Yeah.
just completely go bonkers and go full immersive on a movie rather than, especially in horror, because if you're gonna go that route where things are already supernatural, it's really hard to find that line. But yeah, Blair Witch is
I get
is
you.
is great, but I don't know. I haven't revisited it in decades, so I don't
Hmm.
know how I would feel after a watch of it. Probably you kind of you close your eyes and you see the scenes and you
Yeah.
see kind of the movie. I'm like, I think it'd probably hold up, but a lot of the other stuff nowadays is just bleh.
See, like my experience with Blair Witch, like I've heard as many people, as pretty much everybody, like I've heard so much about it, right?
Yeah,
And I was like, as many people, I would imagine, I was too scared to watch horror movies growing up, right?
right.
So I finally braced myself like in 2010 to watch
Yeah.
it. So I would be like 19. And I was like, you know what, let's do it. Let's not be a pussy about it. Let's do it. And even then, when I was scared, like very, very much like, scared, I thought it was fine. I was like,
Yeah.
wait, so there are a bunch of idiots that are just yelling in the woods for like most of the movie, and then some like very confusing, scary thing happen in the last 10 minutes, and that's it. I was genuinely at the end, I was like more confused than scared. I was like, so what just happened? Like
Exactly.
he's in the corner, I see it, but why is it scary? And I was
Yeah.
just genuinely like, I was so confused. Like I guess because of the, as you said, it came out in the right time where there was all this like, they
You
actually
know,
died, they actually got lost, and this is an actual tape, and all that, the like myth about that was much
exactly.
more powerful than a movie. So like I only watched it once, and I thought it was fine for what it
Mhm.
was. But yeah, like so that was my kind of experience. My second question for you though, have you ever watched the Spanish movies Rec? REC.
I think I've caught one. I feel like I haven't seen it in a while, but the name is super familiar, and I feel like I've seen it, but I can't remember
It's from
any of it.
2007, I want to say the first one, and
Yeah.
there was a of course there's an American remake called Quarantine. Apparently that's not good.
Oh,
No
I think
bueno there.
okay. I think I've seen that one.
That's why.
Uh, is
No,
that's the yeah,
the
okay.
Spanish ones, especially the first two, I still need to complete. There's four. The first two, they're like 2007, 2009, are excellent handheld, like found footage movies.
Right,
The third one is kind of wild from what I remember, but I thought I had a good time with it. I need to watch the fourth one, but the first two are genuinely like some creepy shit. Where the first one is simple as like there's a TV news reporter woman who has this like TV show like a news about like a firefighters. Oh, we're
right,
gonna we're gonna follow them for the rest of the night. Let's see what they're up to, and they go into the building and weird shit starts to happen. Right? That's it. That's the
right.
movie.
That's
And it's so well done. I haven't revisited it in ages. Like only seen it once, but like it was yeah. Jump scares done well. The atmosphere done well. Spanish people know what they're up to. Like, I'll say that.
that's usually what I find is that, more of the foreign flicks do it for me when it comes
Yeah.
to horror most of the time, unfortunately.
And I haven't seen the Quarantine remake, but I've heard of it, and I heard it's like, yeah, it as always, or as most of the time, the remake takes all the wrong lessons, and
Yeah.
just they just Americanize it, and most people that seen it are like, yeah, this is shit. So I haven't seen it, so I don't know. All right, so like so you're not a fan of found footage movies.
Yeah.
Any other hot takes you like to share with us as far as movies goes?
I feel like mine are all pretty like
Tame.
pretty common.
Okay.
Yeah, like even like in the sense where it's like I don't like Marvel. Like even
Okay.
kind of that. I I,
You
I am
genuinely
not
don't.
No, I'm not a superhero movie guy. Like
Okay.
I like it obviously like I came out at a time where it's like, oh yeah, Iron Man, like that's
Hmm.
awesome. But I don't know, it didn't scratch the itch for me. I didn't like it didn't do it. I don't know. And so when they kept rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling, it's just like, oh
Hmm.
my God, like they're not good. Like and I'm sure people will fight me for it. And it's like, no, like you guys, I'm not gonna sit and watch a 3 hour Infinity War movie with all this like CGI
Hmm.
nonsense going around, and it wasn't for me. So and again, it got so large and
Yep.
expansive that I'm like, I'm not even gonna bother.
Yeah.
And then
So you haven't
I
actually seen like Infinity War Endgame any.
no,
Wow.
yeah, I haven't seen any of that stuff because it just never. It
Wow.
didn't, I think what did I see? I think I saw the second Thor, maybe. I don't remember.
The
I think it
the
has.
worst one?
I think it
Yes.
had like which one was it where like the Hulk is there and he's like fighting a giant wolf? I don't
Giant
know.
wolf?
Maybe it's a wolf. I can't remember. Um, I don't remember. Like, and then he's like
Oh,
in the ocean with it and shit. Like, I'm like, that was cool. But that was the Hulk, like fighting a giant wolf thing. Like,
was it like a Thor Ragnarok? That's the
maybe it
third
was. Was that
one.
the third one? I see. Like, I
Yeah,
don't even know.
there's like
So,
a yeah. Okay,
like,
yeah,
that
I
was one
think
scene, but that was like the like I remember seeing that. I'm like, that's kind of cool. But like, well, that wasn't even Thor. That was the Hulk. And it's like, well,
yeah.
I'll just watch Edward Norton if I want the Hulk
I
fighting
see.
giant, or not
Hmm.
even Edward Norton. It was before that. What's
It was
his
Eric
face?
Bana. Eric Bana.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
original
fighting
from
the
by Ang Lee. By
yeah,
like there
fighting the
was before
dogs. I'll
MCU.
watch that.
There was even before any MCU. It was
Yeah.
2003. I remember that movie. That was I like Ang Lee. It was
It was
very
bad. But
it was I'll say look, I'll say like it was the filmmaker like oh I'll make it exactly like in a comic. So like all props to that. It kind of looks like a
yeah, it
comic book
looks good.
movie. Like
Yeah.
like the pages, the like the frames and all that. And there are some choices, and obviously Jennifer Connelly is in a movie, so I'm not gonna complain because I'm a man and Jennifer Connelly is pretty. But like like the movie itself, from what I remember, even my teenage brain was like, this is kind of boring, and my teenage
Yeah.
brain was not that hard to impress.
That's
So
funny.
like, if my teenager self was not impressed, my adult self probably would be even less impressed.
Yeah.
But no,
So it
that's
just
fair. Like it's not your
yeah.
thing. It's
Yeah, it's just not my thing. And
okay.
there's people out there and I think it goes back to the punk aesthetic where I'm like it's too big, it's
It's
too
too
corporate.
mainstream. It's too
Yeah, it's
mainstream, so
just
it's not
try.
for you.
Yeah, it's just a money grab kind of a thing. Like this is
Fair, fair.
where's the art in it?
So you like, so are you on the side of Scorsese? This is not cinema.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, I think so. Like, I get like obviously, I think every movie has its place, and like, oh, if you want to like just shut your brain off and watch
Hmm.
like superheroes flying around and stuff, sure, go for it.
Yeah,
And because I like to turn my brain off and watch, cybernauts from hell, these angels from
yeah,
hell
yeah,
kill people, so why not? So
exactly.
I'll do that. So
And again, if you like, like I wish all these news outlets stopped asking these like big directors, oh, what's your opinion on comic book movies and Marvels? Like, obviously, like, they are different generation. They do not perceive it as a cinema. Like,
yeah,
that's not a controversial headline. Like, Martin Scorsese is saying Marvel is not really that much of a cinema for him. I love Marvel. He's not wrong. Like both
right.
things can be true. Like
You can
like
they can exist in the same place.
they have
Like,
like it's the same. Like it's a cotton candy. Like they have their place on
yeah,
a in a like a cinematic like landscape, but you don't want to have just that because
yeah,
it is not as nutritious. There's
there you
there's
go.
art
Yeah,
behind it. There's definitely like effort put into those movies. And again, I love them. I do enjoy Marvel. But even I would be like, yeah, though, like Scorsese is right. Like,
yeah.
guys, like, are we gonna pretend just because we like it, like he's not right? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think what also does it in the same way, and this is just like now I'm just kind of like really like grabbing at straws and stuff, but it's like how they're giving so much praise to the actors, and yeah, they're doing their thing, right?
Hmm.
But hell, they're just standing in front of a blue screen, jumping around on giant blue blocks and
Yep.
whatnot. But where's all the credit to the people that are like designing the stuff?
Oh, the
Like,
VFX artist, the
yeah,
stuff.
all these artists that are doing the actual work to make it visually appealing. Like, let's talk about them, kind of a thing.
Especially on a time crunch and like and famously overworked and underpaid because
Exactly.
I think they are now forming union, but that's one of the few professions in actual like Hollywood right now that's still unionized, which kind of
Crazy.
fucking blows my mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's insane. Anything else, or would you like to move on to the underrated section?
Let's keep rolling, I think. Yeah,
All
I can't
right,
think of anything else.
no worries. So this is the part of the show where I ask Corey, who do you think is the most underrated actor we have right now?
I don't know if he's underrated, but maybe it's just from my sense. Mark Duplass. Anytime I can talk about Mark Duplass, I'm going to talk about him.
Okay.
And he's a great actor, even better writer. But
Hmm.
he's incredible. I just it seems like anything that he does, I just enjoy.
Hmm.
So I think he's really really good in all of his roles that he kind of has in a sense written for himself in a lot of cases. But
Hmm.
um, but I just love it. I think like obviously Creep is fantastic, and then I was really into. He did a movie recently. I think it came out last year.
Hmm.
What was it called? It was called like Biosphere or something of that kind,
I've heard
and
about that, yeah.
such a good movie. He did so good in it. And then of course I think he like one of his early works, the Puffy Chair, so good.
Hmm.
That he did with his brother, that was really well done. And I just like him. Like again, back to the idea of vibes. I think just his vibe is awesome, and he just seems like such a great guy to work with, and he seems like such a creative person
Hmm.
to work with based on the writings that he's done and the movies that he's created. So I think he ultimately is who I would say more people need to watch him. Hell, even during the pandemic, this guy, I probably I would say during the pandemic era of film, I
Hmm.
think his movie that he did, what was it called? Gosh, I'm drawing such a blank on it. It's like uh language lesson or something of that kind there. But it's
Hmm.
about this guy and he's learning Spanish during the pandemic and he's kind of creating this relationship with the girl that he's learning Spanish from.
Mm.
And just the way that they did it, and it's all kind of virtual like this. And I think
I
it's one
see.
of the better executed movies that I've seen, based on the idea that they had, the premise and the execution. It's so good. It's such a good movie.
So, okay, let me ask you this. If somebody is not as familiar with Mark Duplass as an actor,
Yeah.
what would you say is like, watch this movie and that should turn you around? What would your like examples of that be?
Ooh, good question. I would say obviously the puffy chair
Okay.
is going to be one because you're going to get kind of his early stuff, like what kind of in a sense kind of created him in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Um but then I think another one that I would really say that had a really big impact on me was Paddleton with Ray Romano. Those I think those two will really set the tone for somebody
Mm-hmm.
watching Mark Duplass. And ultimate, I know it's not a movie, but the show he had, oh gosh, what's it called? I don't remember the show that he was on. I don't remember, but it was very good.
There's a morning show.
That's the newer one.
There is. I'm just going through what I've actually seen him in.
Oh,
He was
cool.
on the Mindy Project,
Animal.
Manhunt, Animals, no,
What is that?
Togetherness.
Togetherness, yes, yes.
Ah,
That show is so good.
okay.
And again, it's just this idea where it's like, he's I mean, really, it's just he's in a part of a family and the
Hmm.
family's turmoils and just everyday life. I think it was really well done. So I just really enjoy a lot of the stuff that he does.
I remember I've already had a person on this podcast recommended to me The One I Love
Okay,
starring
yeah,
him. I don't
yeah.
looking at the movie. He didn't direct it, neither he wrote it, but he's the main star alongside Elizabeth Moss. I still haven't seen it, but I've heard very good things about. This is supposed to be like a high concept comedy kind of thing, like quirky.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, I saw it a good long while ago. It's been many moons since
Yeah.
I've seen the one I love, but
Hmm.
I remember it being one of again, I mean, but I'm a Mark Duplass stan. Like I'll watch anything
There.
of his, and it was I remember it being really good. Uh but
Okay.
yeah, what I tend to find is like when I look at the movies that I like of his, it's like, wait, he kind of co-wrote, or he
Hmm.
had some other hand in the film. So that's what ultimately really had me gravitate towards him, was like,
Okay.
okay, he's doing it all kind of a thing.
Hmm. No, I think that's an actually perfect example of somebody underrated because I've seen some movies of his where he's in
Hmm.
it, but I wouldn't like I don't think many people would say, oh, that's my favorite actor. Like I
Right.
still think he's kind of like on the outskirts of that, he's between like B-listers, like not in terms of quality, but in terms of like many people wouldn't know his name per se.
Right.
Like it's not the name that would sell movie tickets, for
Right.
example. That's what I mean. Like, not to the quality. No,
Yeah.
I'm sure. Like, I've heard many people like speak praise, like you, that praise him for everything he does. So I definitely that's one of the interesting guys I need to delve more into. So thank you for that. Thank you for that
Yeah.
recommendation. S-
Always.
Who do you think is the most underrated actress we have right now?
Ooh. My gut told me Jenny Slate. Um,
Ah, nice.
I think Jenny Slate's just awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean I'm not gonna run out and see It Ends With Us, but I'm I'm gonna watch a lot of this stuff. I think she's awesome. She's hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I just really enjoyed her. I don't have too much to say on her, but I think she's one that definitely needs more credit where credit's due. She's awesome.
I loved her as a voice of Marcel in Marcel the Shell with the Shoes On. Have you seen that movie?
I have, yeah, it's so good. It was funny.
It's so touching.
Me and Shane, where we were
Mm.
talking about I don't know because we were talking about Venom,
Ah.
and because he went to go see the new one, and we were I mentioned how I was like, well, I just found out that Jenny Slate was in the first one, so I guess I got to see it,
Mhm.
and then for some reason we got on what if Marcel got the symbiote, and and so you'd have like this venomized little shell running around.
Poor
It was
Marcel. No,
right.
he's too pure
Leave
for
him
Venom.
alone.
Leave Marcel alone. No, I knew that's her, that voice, that 5-year-old voice, but it's still kind
Right.
of like I'm
Like,
impressed and
whoa.
also creeped by like how this adult woman can like imitate a 5-year-old so well. Like to me, that's just like wow. And obviously, like I'm a simple person, so Parks and Recreations, like
Oh
like
yeah.
every time she's on the screen, like I think her and I'm blanking on his name right now, but like her brother in the series, in the Sonic movies, they are used
Oh my gosh. I know who you're talking
sparingly.
about.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
are used well, so like because like those are such annoying characters, but they are so used. That's why they are used so sparingly in that show that they every time they pop in, they are always so greatly annoying in that show.
It's too good, man.
No, like Jenny Slate is there any like specific movies of hers that
I
people will if they haven't watched any of her movies?
I'm trying to because I want to pick a good one. Obviously, Obvious Child. Like you got
Hmm.
to see that one if you're digging Jenny Slate.
Hmm.
Um, but I think that's probably the big one. I think what you're referring to on Parks and Rec is probably
Oh yeah.
the go-to for her. I know she does a lot of like voice work, obviously with
Yes.
Marcel, but that's going to be one that I would say at least those two, Obvious Child and Parks and Rec is where you're gonna see top tier Jenny Slate.
And like she has a like a tinier role, but she is in Everything Everywhere All at Once. And
Is she? Oh yeah,
yes,
she totally is.
yes, she
Okay.
is. Like again, her role is not pivotal in any like for that movie in any sense, but she's there. So like
Right.
that's a great movie to have on her resume. Okay, so who do you think is the most underrated director we have right now?
Oh, trying to. This one always posed a hard one for me.
Hmm.
I it's a toss up to between Robert Eggers, and oh gosh, I'm drawing such a blank on his name. But in the interim, I would definitely probably say Eggers. I think but
Hmm.
based on like The Lighthouse alone, I think just that insane movie itself, just the visuals of it is what did it for me. I'm like, this is top tier film right here with The
That's the
Lighthouse.
That's the only movie of his I still haven't seen, but
Wow.
that lives on my shelf as a Blu-ray. I actually
Oh,
bought a
nice.
Blu-ray for it, so I'm gonna watch it just before Nosferatu. For me,
I can't wait.
yeah, look, talk about like great date and like it releases on Christmas. Yes,
Right.
I'm there. I'm fucking there in the cinema. Like I cannot wait for that movie. It looks so fucking cool. I'm like, yes, my Christmas just got much nicer because of you. Thank you very much. I really hope that's gonna deliver. But for what convinced me, have you seen Northman from like 2 years ago, 2022?
Yeah, I did. I did. Oh my gosh.
Talk about
There's
movie.
like this panning shot where they're
Uh-huh.
like running like through this village. Oh my gosh,
Yeah, when
dude.
they
So
attack the
good.
village, when they
Yeah.
like when there's an attack and it's like 2 minute unbroken shot and it's
So
all
good.
action is taking place and it's for most of it real. It's not CGI, like just people like a very well rehearsed action.
Right.
And then like it is just I didn't even know like how much originates from from like a Vikings, like the Shakespeare kind of stole that story from a Viking, I was like, why does it feel so chic? Oh, that's why, duh.
It's-
And I'm like, that's such an awesome, like, I genuinely think, like, 2022, 10 years from now, I already know 10 years from now, we'll see all the movies that were released. And like, was a fucking banger year. Like, this was a
oh yeah.
genuinely great year for movies. And between all of that, Northman is not getting enough praise because no, I've seen it in a cinema, and that movie is visually stunning,
Yeah.
great performance, like Willem Dafoe, Anya Taylor-Joy, Nicole Kidman, obviously like the main guy, Charlie, what's his name?
Oh gosh, one of the brothers, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like his muscles have muscles. Like, like if I ever looked like that, or like 10% of how he looks in that movie, I would never wear a shirt in my life. Like I would have just, like his muscles have muscles. Like
That's too funny, dude.
I was like, that physique, like dude. I'm like, fuck me, I need to hit the gym.
That's too funny.
No,
Too funny.
it's just, oh no, it's a great movie. And Eggers, somebody asked him, "Oh, this is your fourth movie now with Nosferatu, and yet again, it's like taking place in the past. Will you ever make a movie that takes place in the present?" And he's like, "Nope, I'm not interested in that."
Nope.
And I do admire that. I actually really like that answer. Like, he's not interested in the present. He just like likes to go back in the past and just,
Yeah, I'm all
oh,
for it.
yeah,
All for
same.
it.
We need
Huh,
people like that. We need more people who are like, you know what? I want to do this fucking quirky, unique shit like that takes place in 1800 or whatever. Like,
huh.
yes, I'll be there.
Too good.
So, do you have any underrated movies you would like to give us a special shout out? Like maybe one or two?
Absolutely. My biggest one
Mm-hmm.
uh
Tell me.
was a oh gosh, what is it? Gentlemen Broncos from 2009. Have you seen or heard of Gentlemen Broncos? It's
It
by
rings a vague bell. Like, I don't know why.
it's by the same director of Napoleon Dynamite, and
That's why.
same vibe too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it honestly, I think it's like beyond
Mm-hmm.
the absurdity that was Napoleon Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's such a good movie. It's Sam Rockwell's in it. Oh God, what's the yeah, oh gosh, I'm drawing such a blank on names. Jermaine from Flight of the Conchords is in it. I know he's a big
Ah.
one, but it's such a funny movie. Like this kid just like he writes like a story about his late dad,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like this crazy like sci-fi story that he writes, and he goes to like this like summer camp for writers, and there's a author there played by Jermaine, and he like steals this kid's book and kind of just rewrites it enough to make it his own, and the
Mm-hmm.
kid catches on to it, and but like it cuts into like the actual story that they've written, and like Sam Rockwell plays the main character, Gentleman Bronco, and or the titular Bronco is his name, and just the lines and everything that they go on, it's so funny. Like me and my friends, we still quote it today.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's such a funny movie. So
That's
weird.
why it was familiar because is it his like not follow up, but is it this next movie he made right
I
after
believe it. Yeah,
Napoleon?
I think it was the next movie
Mm,
that they made to Napoleon, and
yeah.
didn't
I
get the. It doesn't seem like it got the same buzz as
yeah.
Napoleon Dynamite, but I think it's better
Okay.
in a lot of ways. It's like if you like like the weirdness that Napoleon
Mm-hmm.
Dynamite was, it takes that and really amps it up, and like every scene it seems like there's just some wacky stuff happening.
Okay.
It's such a good movie.
Is there
Like
any other one you would like to shout out?
oh, another underrated movie.
If it's fine if you just have one. That's usually, what people say, but if, I know it's
Probably
such
the
a
one.
broad question. Like, like I know there are so
Well, I
many
want to.
movies.
It's like you want to keep going. You want to keep
Exactly.
giving
It's just
them.
like
Like
some people do have like two or three. They're like, oh yeah, I wish more people talked about this movie or this movie or No, no,
but
gentle.
probably that. I think
Hmm.
another one that I probably have is that Hugh Jackman Van Helsing movie. Like
Oh, that.
I feel like everybody shits on that one, but I'm like, but it's so good. Like
I feel like
the
it's the
where
perfect mid 2000 movie. It's like,
like
like if I feel like I objectively it's not a great movie, right? However, what I would say, I grew up watching that movie, and I think if I were to rewatch it now, I think it's almost a great time capsule of
it's
this is how movies used to be in 2000 like 4 5.
yeah.
And it's Hugh
Absolutely.
Jackman. Is it Kate Beckin? No, is it Kate
It
Beckinsale? It
it
is.
it
Yes.
totally is Kate Beckinsale, yeah. And
I'm
I
just
just
a
remember
man. I'm just a
it's
man. Kate Beckinsale in a movie. I'm there. Like I'm
hey,
just a
like
man.
I was
Look.
saying, I was saying it earlier, right? Serendipity, one of my favorite movies. So
Now it's starting to click.
I didn't
I
even
see
think of
how
the
you
connect.
roll.
All right, I
I
see.
see how you roll, sir. And good taste. Good taste. Like Kate Beckinsale. Yes. No, but no, I genuinely like Van Helsing again, objectively, not the greatest of movies, but there is something about it that's like that's good, cheesy 2004, 2005-ish vibe where it's hard to replicate, though that kind of vibe, right? That
Right.
time of space, that wait, am I correct in saying there's like a one big name act? Am I dumb for saying is Anthony Hopkins in that movie?
Ooh, oh
I
man,
need to
we're
check because
totally gonna have to look now.
I'm looking it up as we speak because I would be willing to bet. So Hugh Jackman, Kate Beckinsale, yes, yes, yes. No, no. Richard Roxburgh, of course, because that's the stereotypical villain. But I thought there's a Robbie Coltrane is in the movie. Okay, maybe. No, okay, no, no, no. Never mind. No, okay, I just made it up then. That must have been my just
No, it's all good. I wonder if you're thinking of but I don't even think he's in it. Freaking Sean Connery in League of Extraordinary
I
Gentlemen.
might have been confused with that, to be honest, but I knew I was like, no, Sean Connery is retired by then. But you know what? I forgot, and scrolling through IMDb, it just totally reminded me. You know why I also might have a weak spot for that movie? It was
Was
made in Czech Republic, and
Oh,
there's a
no
bunch
way.
of Czech actors in it.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
And I think there's even like Czech language spoken in like one or two scenes,
There we
like
go.
vaguely. So I'm like, Czech people, yeah, let's go. Because like we are a very tiny country, so every
Yeah.
time something happens that relates in Czech Republic, you're like, yeah, that's us right there.
I love it.
It's like when you have a local team and somehow the local team makes some national news, it's like,
Heck yeah.
hey,
We got promoted.
yes. Okay, that's a good shout. That made me happy actually.
In to Van Helsing, like it I think it was just so creative. I mean, maybe there was a werewolf transformation like this where they're like peeling skin off of it and
hmm
showing the fur. I just remember seeing that and going, I've never seen a werewolf transformation like that, and that's badass. Like that got me.
I genuinely, and this is not just because I'm talking to you right now. You reminding me of that movie, it kind of makes me want to rewatch it like tonight. Like I
Yeah.
haven't seen it in like must be like 10, no, 15 years at least, at least. So like I would like to rewatch it and see what I think about it right now.
Right now. I mean the whole I think like the establishing sequence of Van Helsing where he's fighting like Dr. Jekyll
Yep.
it's pretty trash. That's pretty trash. But I like the idea that it's like this just like giant like gorilla looking guy. Like
hmm
I'm about it.
Like if you think about it, this was kind of MCU before MCU. They tried to make this like a universe where like,
They totally did. Yeah.
like
And then they tried to do it again with Tom Cruise and it didn't work.
oh yeah, that kind of failed, didn't it? Yeah. And that movie was piece of that was bad.
I didn't even see
You
it.
don't have to. You don't have to.
I didn't see that. Yeah, wasn't Anthony Hopkins in that Wolfman movie?
I wanna say yes.
I
I
think
let
he
me double
was.
check
Maybe that's where it's coming from.
because I remember and see speaking of Wolfman, I remember that Wolfman. Yes, he was Benicio del
Eh,
Toro, and good memory,
Anthony.
sir. Good memory.
Maybe that's what you were thinking of.
And I'm see, we talked about this before. You have a memory of a movie from like when you were growing up, and now
Yeah.
you're scared to rewatch that movie. This Wolfman from 2010, directed by John Johnston, is that movie for me because I remember watching it when it came out, 2010, and I loved it. I was like 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5, fucking awesome. And now I have a feeling if I were to rewatch it, it would be like, yeah, that's kind of okay, maybe.
Right.
But it's Emily Blunt, it's Anthony Hopkins, it's Benicio del Toro. Like at the time, it was that was my jam. Like, and
Heck
I
yeah.
remember like enjoying that movie. And it's one of those like I'm like, do I rewatch it just to kind of adjust my rating because like it sticks out as like a sore thumb, like that's 5 out of 5 for that
Right.
movie, or do I keep that? innocent quote unquote childhood memory of or teenage memory for that movie and maybe just let it live until I have to rewatch it for whatever reason.
I'm gonna say the latter. Don't pull a me with Jeepers Creepers. Just
See, yeah,
let the
yeah,
memory live.
probably that'd be. But Van Helsing though, maybe.
Oh yeah. I think that one's you can still enjoy that
I
even.
think, yeah, like I'm all up for like a trashy B, C, Z horror
Hell
movies
yeah.
or like I grew up on 80s and 90s action movies, not horror movies, but action. So Stallone, Schwarzenegger, like give me the mediocre 90s, 80s action movie, and I'm like 10 out of 10
Yeah.
cinema. Like that's for me. Like that's my jam. Like, yeah.
I love it. It's so
So
good.
I know you said you don't really, or you prefer movies to TV shows, but is there a TV show that you feel like it's very underrated you would like to shout out?
Heck yeah, dude.
Tell
So
me.
there, dude, what's his name? Ted Danson in Becker from like back
Becker.
in the early 2000s.
Okay.
Like so Becker, it's like he plays this doctor who's
Hmm.
kind of like an asshole. Like think like Larry David, Curb Your Enthusiasm style,
Okay.
but as a doctor.
Okay.
And like he runs like this like small practice and he's got like his receptionist, his nurse, and but he's just like an angry old man kind of a thing. And he
Hmm.
goes and he goes to this diner all the time and there's kooky characters there and it
Yeah.
was just like it was a basic ass like sitcom on the stage everything, but I remember watching that so much in my early college years and just being like this show is just it you can turn your brain off and just watch it, but it's so good. I loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun.
See, I yet again it's something I need to look up because I've genuinely never heard of this. And I'm like, is this one of those sitcoms that was canceled after one season? That's why I haven't heard of it. No, it ran for six fucking seasons.
Yeah, dude.
What?
They were
98 until 2004 and it has 129 episodes.
it was great.
Like it's like it has 7.3 on IMDb, so I'm actually intrigued. And
It
Ted
was just like
Danson, like being a bit of a dick, like because of my girlfriend and I just or just watched for the first time The Good Place. Like we
ah
finished that in like last like couple of months ago, and he is kind of a dick in that, or he starts as kind of a dick in that show. If you know what the show is about, and know there's a
right.
certain twist. So like he is kind of a dick in that show, and I'm like, okay, I'm intrigued. So it's like it's okay, it's like a good sitcom, you say,
Yeah.
Becker.
I love it. I think it obviously, I mean, it's Ted Danson, so it's probably in the shadows of Cheers. Like it's just
Yeah,
hiding in the shadow of Cheers. But and this was like I don't know exactly. I mean, obviously, I think Cheers like ended well maybe mid 90s. I can't remember offhand, but
I think they ended like
this followed
sorry.
and no, you're good. And so it's just one of those things where it's like it's in the wake of Cheers, so not a lot of people talk about it because
Hmm.
Cheers is Cheers.
Yeah,
But then also I think it falls in with like the kind of the same stuff because I think this was there's Becker, but then like it got overshadowed even at the same time like Frasier and
yeah.
Friends and stuff like that. So all these other sitcoms are happening, and there's little old Becker just kind of rocking and rolling for 6 seasons that
That's what
that
I was
nobody
gonna
really talks
say.
about.
No, yeah, that's what I was gonna say because I haven't actually seen, believe it or not, I've never seen a single Cheers or Frasier episode. I heard a lot of good things about it, so I know like eventually I need to get around it. But in the UK, it doesn't really stream anywhere, so that's a
Yeah,
problem. But I that's what I was gonna say. Like I know Cheers ended like mid or late 80s because Frasier came right after. There was like a spin-off
yeah.
of Cheers. So
Hmm.
that's the only thing I know of it. Like if I want to watch Cheers and eventually I want to watch Frasier, like I probably would want to watch Cheers first because of that.
Right.
So okay,
Just establish.
yeah, yeah.
But
Any
yeah.
other TV show besides Becker or
I think Becker's my main choice.
nice?
I think outside of that, I kind of fall into like the kid shows from when I was growing up, and like the stupid, like
Mm,
not even like good shows, just like really stupid ones. Like there's like a cartoon, like I'm talking like cartoons made for like 8-year-olds, where it's
I
like
see.
PB and J Otter from like Disney. Like who the hell? What's PB and J Otter? Like who's watching that or
Never.
stuff like
Yet again, I never
that?
even heard of that. Didn't grow up watching Disney, so that wasn't my
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Corey, this has been a blast.
That's fun.
You've been patient and kind enough with your time and answered all of my questions. So before we say goodbye, let's flip the table. Do you have a question or two for me?
Um, I was hoping that maybe it would just come to me as we
Hmm.
were talking. But I find myself kind of just wanting to ask the same question that you asked me
Okay.
to you on like kind of your like hot takes or things
Ooh.
like that, I guess, kind of, but movie related. So
Okay.
I guess that would be the question then. What if there's one that you haven't yet discussed previously? If there maybe a
Ooh.
movie hot take that you got?
Movie hot take. Like I've always, been one of those like, let's stop remakes and let's like, invest more. Like, instead of making one
I'm giving a
200
thumbs up.
250,
Yeah.
like a million dollar movie. Let's
Yeah.
not make those. Let's make 10, $20 million movies. Let's give it to like up and coming directors and let's see what happens rather than, especially in today's age of like streaming, there's so much. I don't like to use the word content, so I would say movies or TV shows.
Yeah.
But because of streaming, many even quality stuff they fall through the cracks because unless you have like Apple TV, right? I hear great stuff about their TV shows.
Right.
However, I only hear it from certain people who have Apple TV. The rest of the world has no idea that this happens.
Right.
And it's just like who was it? John Oliver, some comedian made this joke like Apple TV, where good shows go to hide.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is a clever joke because that's actually true. Like I heard like this and this and this and this all produced by Apple, like the Silo, the obviously like Ted Lasso, the Severance,
Yeah.
that's supposed to be excellent TV show, but I only hear certain people raving about it, and the rest of them are like as like me, like commoners without Apple TV, who are already paying for five different or six different streaming subscriptions. They don't want to pay for one more. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's just like it's
It's out
hard
of
to
hand.
justify, especially when you have like you have like 10 TV shows. Like I have in my queue on Disney Plus, let's say I have 15 TV shows. I like Atlanta or like many other shows I haven't
Hmm.
started yet, right? Or like Walking, I still haven't seen a single episode of Walking Dead, believe it or not. Like I would like
Yeah.
to actually binge it, even though I know it's not like the later seasons isn't supposed to be good and all that. And it's just one of those like I cannot justify like getting an Apple subscription when I have Netflix, Apple, like this, like Amazon Prime, all that. Like I haven't seen this show, let alone
Right.
movies, right? So, sorry, that to my larger point, now movies fail until they make like fucking billions straight away.
Yeah.
And
It's
to me, that's
ridiculous.
fucking crazy. Like, this is why I like, for example, like you are a horror movie guy, or not, is it fair to say mainly horror movie guy? I don't know how
I
you,
would probably say so. Yeah.
because I
I'm
don't want
cool
to
with
like
it.
put you in some sort of box where,
No, you're good.
like that's what I love about the Terrifier 3. Like that movie costed like 2.5 million and it already made like 40, 50
That's the way
million.
it should be, man.
And I'm so happy. Look, I understand like Shane, like again, we talked about our friend Shane. It's not his jam. And I understand. And that movie specifically will not be for many people because it is
Right.
fucking brutal. It's gory as fuck. It's brutal. It's Shane calls it mean spirited. I think it's like very nice dark humor. But again, let's agree to disagree, right?
Right.
However, I love how Damien Leone, like he's just like some studios approached me, like maybe financing this one, and then
Yeah.
they read first 5 pages of the script and they're like, no, thank you very much.
Then they put you in the box.
Yeah,
Yep.
and not even that, they don't want to like. Have you seen that movie yet? Terrifier.
Terrifier 3? Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know how
It
that
was
opened.
awesome.
Oh yeah, but you know how that movie opens like
Yeah,
with
and but I'm on you know what's funny, and not to go side tangent,
no,
but
tell
I'm
me.
of the mind where people are like, this, oh my gosh, this is, so insane, like
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
disgusting. And I'm sitting here like, that's like, I saw it. I'm like, I've seen worse, unfortunately, in other movies,
Mm-hmm.
of a similar ilk. And not to say immediately, there's this movie called Santa's Sleigh, and
Ooh,
it's about a killer Santa. And if you
nice.
know, and if you know anything wrestling, it's portrayed by the wrestler Goldberg. So it's
Mm.
this giant hulking like Santa Claus. But the
Yeah.
opening scene is him breaking into, not breaking in, but going into a home of a family
Hmm.
while they're having like their Christmas feast and just destroying them.
Yeah.
And it's like I've seen that, but it's just again side tangent where I'm like yeah, it's bloody, it's gruesome, and the idea of like what he's doing to the kids in the movie, yeah. But I mean,
Hmm.
but and in the same thing, I'll say it again. I'll keep going.
Hmm.
This idea is like, oh my God, Terrifier, Art the Clown, he killed kids. I'm like, have you not seen this movie? Have you
Hmm.
not seen this?
Hmm.
Like this one, like Chucky, oh my goodness, and like
Yeah.
all these stuff. Like it's happened, but
Hmm. Hmm.
I know, like I'm cool with it because again, like you're saying, here's a movie that only took pennies to make and
Yes.
is crushing, absolutely crushing other movies. Like
Well,
that's the way it should.
when it released, it was the number one movie of that weekend or of that
Yeah,
week,
man.
right? And I'm like,
Hmm.
holy fuck, we live in a time, and it was like, there were like some decent movies out at the time. And it was Joker Part 2. Like, fucking, it beat the much anticipated and much more sequel that spent probably 100 million just on marketing alone. And this Terrifier, this piss, quote unquote, piss
This
poor
little old guy,
clown,
yeah.
like with
Yeah.
like a one band army pretty much, and then it beat the shit out of Joker. And I was like, this kind of makes me happy because like this is like, this is where it should, give somebody, like, I'm not saying everything needs to be Terrifier 3. No. I'm
Mm-mm.
saying give independent filmmakers or filmmakers like young up and comers, give them 5 million,
Yeah.
right? So they have just enough to play around in their toolbox, in their sandbox with ideas that, they don't cost as much. They just, give them some A-lister or two so you can promote the shit out of that movie because you need to promote it nowadays. You can have the best movie ever. If you fail to promote it, it slips through the cracks and nobody talks about it, of course.
Exactly.
And like, and the success will come. Like we've seen at times that like we will like, Paranormal Activity. It costed like little to nothing and made like it's probably one of the most grossing movies all time
Hundreds of
compared to the
millions. Yeah.
budget, the ratio of budget to what it made the first one. That's why we've had like 5 or 6 sequels after.
Yeah, sounds ridiculous.
Because yeah, they were fucking cheap to
They'll
make,
make
and
money,
they,
yeah.
yeah, and it's like it's the same thing. Like original Halloween, Carpenter made it for like almost pennies. Like it looks spectacular. I think it was like 50. Like it was not even 100K if I remember correctly. It was something
Sounds about
low.
right, yeah.
And again, at the time, it was it was for the longest time the number one grossing movie, like R-rated movie of all time, until like Passion of Christ.
Right.
It's fucking insane.
Crazy.
But it's fucking Halloween. People,
Yeah.
if you give people something new and something creative, people will actually show up. That's the thing. So that would be like I don't. But again, I don't think that's a hot take. Like I'm trying to rack my head. Like, okay, I'll give you. You know what? It's not a really hot take, but I'll give you one. Joker Part 2. I
Yeah.
don't get Lady Gaga as actress. I don't get it.
I'm with you on that. I mean, I haven't seen it, nor have I even seen like what is that, the Gucci movie she's in, or
You don't have to.
I haven't seen The Star is Born. It's
I've seen all of them.
I'm not seeing her on a poster or her name on a
Yes.
poster and going, I need to see that.
I've seen all of them just to
Yeah,
like, just to tell you. And again, she's fine.
right.
Even in The Star is Born, to me, she's fine. Like she doesn't do anything that I don't see 10 other actresses right now doing probably better job of. But and again, I am saying that as somebody who I think she is a superstar as far as like pop music goes. She
Yeah,
definitely influenced late the 2000s and early 2010s. That will like she established herself as a superstar.
right.
I cannot take, like she is a groundbreaking performer. She is, and I actually like her music. Like I'm not a hater of hers by any means. I just don't think acting is her shtick. And I think she's trying desperately hard to be one of those like, hey, I'm a Renaissance woman. Look at
I
me.
can
I
do
can
it
do it all.
all.
Yeah, I can do it all. Lady Gaga, maybe scale it down a bit. Like maybe.
I
I
think I
don't
would
know.
be, yeah, and I think I'm in the same boat. And I think what does it for me is the idea that, now granted, she's obviously not doing this in the Gucci movie, but
Hmm.
the whole like it's a movie, she's acting, yet she's still singing. It like I get you're a songwriter and a singer and
Yeah.
stuff, but I would be so much more inclined to go see a film with her in it if it was
Hmm.
like a complete like, whoa, what is she doing? She's like doing this like I'll just like she's doing a comedy. Like that's
Hmm.
crazy. I gotta see what she's trying to do in this.
And again,
Um,
look, I'm not like signing like out on her completely. Like if
oh
she like
no,
if you like exactly as you say, if she comes out with like a comedy like in 2 years down the line and she's fucking hilarious, I'll be like, okay,
like
I
this is
can see
awesome.
it.
Yeah.
Let's go. But right now, I've seen all her movies. The House of Gucci, look, nobody was good at her movie. Like nobody was good. Like fucking Adam Driver wasn't great in her movie, and he's a
Mm,
great actor. So
poor
like,
guy.
I'm not gonna give her any shit for that. The Star is Born. It's fine. I've seen the original Star is Born from like 30s, and that was much better movie. Like I'm sorry, but like
Well,
uh, I don't think that movie was like it was like this like more than life. Just like I think it was taking itself a bit too fucking seriously. I think
yeah.
that's a Bradley Cooper issue rather than like I like Bradley Cooper. He seems like a chill, good dude, but I think he wants to be a very good artist. He wants to be like I had this problem with the Maestro from last year where there was a
Mm,
movie where I don't know if you've seen it, but every scene screamed, "Give me an Oscar! I'm one of you guys now. I'm no longer the comedy actor. I'm a director. I'm an author director. Give me an Oscar right now." Every
ah,
fucking scene screamed that, and I'm like, Bradley, chill. We like you, dude. You don't have to try that hard.
yeah. Just be
Chill.
you, man.
Yeah, exactly. Just be like again, and I listen to like DGA podcast, which is Directors Guild of America. I listened to him talk about that movie, and I'm like, damn, dude. Like it's you sound sometimes it comes across
Desperate.
as
Yeah.
fucking not even pretentious. Like
Ah,
it doesn't like we like you. I'm trying to root for you, and obviously you know what you're doing, but like tone it down a bit. Like
yeah.
put it
We get
back.
it. You went to
Yes,
what's
yes.
that school? You went to here or whatever.
You went to like Juilliard and you went to this and this and this and this scene is about this character's soul and this scene is about and I'm like okay they asked about the first scene like calm the fuck down like like chill let's tone it down.
Right.
I like passion. I'm a passionate person so I understand
Yeah, I'm
but
the same way.
dude like we are rooting for you. You don't have to convince us. You don't have to sell us on you being fucking genius 10 times more. It's fine.
Right.
But did I answer your question, by the way? I don't
Heck yeah,
even
you
know.
did. Yeah, absolutely.
Is
I
there
get, yeah.
anything else you would like to ask?
No, I can't think of anything else. I think that was really good.
No, it was awesome. Like, thank you so much for your time. I do appreciate spending so much time with me. I definitely enjoyed myself. If people enjoy themselves too, where is the best place they can follow you?
Yeah, so they can follow me on Instagram,
Hmm.
my one and only place, Instagram, and it's Red Eye Film, all spaced out with an underscore. So
Hmm.
you can find me there. That's
No
where I am.
letterbox and nothing else, just an
Oh,
Instagram.
geez. Well, yeah, I guess Letterboxd a little bit, but I don't really write on there.
Okay.
And that's if they do want to follow me, it's Corey underscore Tenenbaum. That's where you can follow me on Letterboxd.
Okay.
But yeah,
I will do that.
heck
I will
yeah.
do that. And again, thank you so much for your time. I do appreciate
Always.
it. I don't take it lightly. If people want to follow me for some reason, I'm on Letterboxd in Movies Lost, lostinmovies.co.uk, which is my blog, and obviously this podcast every other Friday. Special shout out goes to obviously SPDM Crew Podcast Media. This podcast is part of, and HiFlyer Creative for designing my logo. If you want to see what else is happening, visit highflyercreative.com. And that's all for today. So until next time, bye bye.